anyone in here, the eldest member in the room, to please allow us to go on with this historical event. Who want to be the eldest? We looking at the most gray hair.
Well, I got the most gray hair, but I'm probably the youngest.
That's right. Oh, now, who want to do it now? Well, we do you, because you, oh yeah, you got on a uniform for the occasion. Come on. All right, you ready? Okay, then. All right, brothers and sisters, like I always say, that we just do this in a comfortable manner, because I got to have comfort to get through all of this stuff. And you got me on, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. And what I want to emphasize today is this is a lecture called Set Type and 2, the Human Artificials. And yes, we're talking about the white man is the devil, because even though all you all know, we really don't know. Because Malcolm taught on it for what, 13 years? And in the end, final analysis, he didn't know who the devil was, because he ran right to the cracker.
That's right.
As soon as he had some discomfort, he ran right to the white man and told him on his own master. Despite all the things, he's supposed to keep that in the family. Because, again, we don't know who the devil is. And we can say now that it is important to know the devil to even get out of this situation. Say, no, we just focus on white people, and that's why we don't never do anything that we want to do, because we're always focusing on the white man. No, we're not talking about using it as a crutch. We're talking about a scientific analysis of the beast, how the beast operates, what the beast really is, what it really is. It's one of those things, if you really knew what it was, it wouldn't be nothing to get rid of, because we're dealing on a satanic force. And I think it's appropriate at this time. We're 5 years into the Black Conscious Movement. With 5 or 6 years, we say, number one, there's a lineage behind this. Number one, we had Jesse Jackson for what he was worth back then. He stood up and said, I'm going to run for president. And black people lost their minds. And then we had Farrakhan to come out and support him, and that whole thing went down with the Hyman, and the whole thing went down with the gutter religion, supposedly the Jews said. And then the next thing we know, we had the ASCAC convention jumping off in the 85. Then in 86, Diop came, and before you know it, all these books came. And even though we got a lot of people that's not in consciousness, we saying that the group of us, whether you be in whatever city, it is a difference compared to 1980, when niggas wasn't talking about nothing but dedication to the preservation of shaking our ass. It's different now. So either way, we know that this black Afrocentric movement is on the way, Muslim movement, and all of these things, whatever you want to call it. So this scientific analysis of this devil is very important. How you doing, brothers and sisters? And so what we want to do is, we got all the black Afrocentric movement up to this point, and now it's time to go to another phase. And when we went to, because a lot of people are asking questions, I said, well, I know my history. But you know, most people that know their history, it's in a regular culture. That's an original people. We're not talking about, we're the original people, but any other original people, like you would say, the people from India, or the people from South America, the real deal people from South America, and people from all over, indigenous people, I'm trying to say. They know their history by the time they're 10 years old. Even the beasts, even the Jews, even the European Jews, they know their history by the time they're 10. Or we grown people and we're learning stuff that we're supposed to have known a long time ago, and that's unfortunate for us because we understand what we went through. But after the history, what else is there? It's got to be an evolution. We must go into the mystery. Let's get this right. There's the history, and then there's the mystery. After you learn the history, it prepares you for the mystery. What does the Masons say? Are you truly and duly prepared? Any of you Masons in here, you know what that means. Are you truly and duly prepared? And then we go into the mystery. Well, the mystery is how we get this cracker off our backs. You see, because he's dealing only in the mystery. Because now, if you notice, he's giving you your history. He's got in on this thing. Giving you your history. We got Sid selling candy cloth now. You understand what I'm saying? I just looked in Jet. Yeah, McDonald's got a candy cloth cup. I just looked in Jet magazine, and they got a sister up there in a bathing suit. All the stuff out. know, one of them little shoestring bathing suits. But whatever shoestring she has on, it's a kitty cloth bathing suit in jet right now. Well, whatever way you try to get into consciousness, whatever in the comfort zone, maybe that might be cool. But anyway, the problem is we know nothing of the mystery. You see, where do we go from here? And what happened was I had this big paradox. I ran up against a brick wall. I was coming home for the 5th or 6th time, talking to Afrocentric stuff and all my books, and my mama said, that's fine, I done heard it. But still yet, what you gonna do when that white man cut off your water, or when he cut off your lights, or he go down there and he put some shit in that chicken, excuse the expression, put some stuff in that chicken, you through. What are we gonna do? You see, it comes, okay, it brings us to one level because you can't even operate now unless you know the basic functions of being black, right? But the other thing is, what about the science of the world, the science of life? The metaphysics, the occult sciences. And this is fundamentally African. And just like Primordial said, you need to come out and hit a brother on Sundays. They're trying to become you when you're supposed to be becoming God. There is a way out of this thing. It's just like Dorothy on the Wizard of Oz when she tried to get home. And at the end they said you had the power to go home all the time. It was in you. Powerful movie. Remember the piece? Put everything in his movies. And we do know that it was just a dream, right? And if you understand the melanin, the astral plane, and all of it, they say, watch your dreams. Because it's all in a dream. And in actuality, this is a big illusion. Because that's what the white man got us on, a big illusion. Black people just fronting. We are a race of fakers. And I just know, one of my friends came out. I'll get to rambling, but we got to get this comfortable atmosphere. You understand? Had a friend. He came into town and we went out. We went to Mr. V's. I said, okay, I'll go. I said, you know I don't go out no more. But I said, hey, you my boy. I knew you when we was in school, in college together, so hey, let's go out. Went to Mr. V's and one woman broke in. She was tall. She had blonde hair. She had on a big old antebellum South dress and some little red Riding Hood bag and all. And I said, my people are fools. I mean, she was actually living the illusion which is given to her in the media. She was real light, and she had this blonde hair, and it was long blonde hair, and it was flowing all the way down, and she was a complete Rebecca from Donnybrook Farm. She was a white girl in Little Red Riding Hood or whatever. And I said, just look at the insanity, and you can testify to this. Once you get into this consciousness, you can smell the insanity, see the insanity, until your people get tired of it. You say, oh man, I don't like to hear that stuff. You always preaching. Just like Maulana Karenga said, everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson. And we got enough ignorance in us to this day until we should be on a scholarly mode of analyzing things every day. You see? Just Wednesday, Michael Jackson come on TV and tell that lie about his skin peeling. And you know, every Negro believes this cat the next day. I was up in there and all the Spellman came in this place, and I work in this place at the AU Center, this store. All the people came in, all the girls from Spellman and all the people, and I had to argue with about 30 people. You know, they believe all and all. I said, no, wait a minute, here you holding up a man that is the greatest entertainer in the world, and he doesn't even have enough guts or enough sense to say, well, hey, to even lie about this, say it's lie about a girlfriend that's black. You see what I'm saying? He got to lie on a doggone beast woman. You see. So, we know we're crazy. And we're going to go into this lecture about the beast, and we're going to start from here. It's going to be a lot of lectures to come. But if, like I said, when we go into this lecture, after I finish, there's going to be an intermission. You can stay for the solution, or you can get it on video right here. You can come back and all if you got someplace to go. Because it would be unfair to say that I'm going to give you an analysis of a solution and also beast. And in just a short time. It's got to be scholarly done. You see, so because you go after your people. They want to know facts. And like my brother right here was talking to me yesterday. He said, he's talking to a brother said, I got to have a little more to go on in that. So we're going to give him this little more to go on. You understand? So, to start this off, we're going to start this in the late 19th century. Well, the late 1900s, early 18th century, late 17th 1700s, you know, late 1800s. That would be the 18th century. The 1800s is, let's get this right, the 1800s is the 19th century, right? So that means the 18th century is the late 1700s, right? In the late 1700s, we know that Napoleon goes into Kemet and carted all this stuff out. And in the next 20 years, we got what you call the Rape of Africa period, or the Rape of the Nile. There's a book by Fagan you can get. I can't think of the name. It's called The Rape of the Nile. And they tell you all the thousands of things that they pull out of this place. Fagan, The Rape of the Nile, if you want to write that down. Anyway, he goes in, and then there's a big rush because they got all this stuff out here, but they don't know what it says and they don't know what it means because nobody can read meta-nature or hieroglyphics. So we get Champollion comes along, him, and he's from France. There's got another guy, I think he's from England or Germany. And they got this big race on who's going to be the first to translate hieroglyphics or meta-nature. Anyway, it takes Champollion 16 years to do this. And in 1924, he translates the meta-nature and all this, and then you have the next era where people have to learn it, and then you get the birth of Egyptology, where you have Gerald Massey would be his own Egyptologist. You have people like Budge, you have people like Birch, and Gaston Maspero from France, and all this was to come later. But the key point is Champollion translate these hieroglyphics. As soon as he translates these hieroglyphics, he goes, heads straight to Kemet, the same year, heads straight to Africa, Kemet, to excavate all of what he has found how to read. And he goes to the temple of Seti I and the temple of Biblium el Manuk, which is the tombs of Ramesses V. The temple of Seti I is the temple of Ramesses I, built by Ramesses II when he was like 21 years old. His father dies and he goes and builds his temple. It's in Abydos, the first Holy Land. If you didn't know there was more than one Holy Land, this is in Abydos, the first Holy Land. And we have the temple of Seti I. Now, what's interesting about this temple is, I got a picture of this temple from the 19th century, which is a nice temple with columns and all of this on it. And by the time I get another temple from 1989, the temple is totally different. It's like these white boys went in and reconstructed the temple, tore it down and built it back up. We know why they did that. Because in this, he finds out that he has, in this temple, and I want to get this picture. In this temple, he finds out that there's 4 men. And it's in the first piece you have on Egypt, if you want to look at that. There's 4 men in this temple. And I got a picture of these men, if I can find it. But anyway, those 4 men are called the Nazi, which is the Southern Africa, or the West Africa. The Hemu, which is the Semitic. The Ruti, or the Root race, which is your East African, which is the Egyptians, or the Kemites. And then you have the Tamahu. Now, if you notice in that document, they don't talk about no other races. They just tell you what their names are, what they are known as, and where they're from. What type of ethnic background they're from, whatever. But the only one that they talk about in there is what? The Tamahu, which Tama meaning created, Hu meaning white, light, or bright. It means the created white people. Now, at the bottom of that, you'll find out that he says the Nazi and the Ruti, which is the West African, or the East African, created the Tamahu. Now, here we have first-hand archaeological evidence. You see, Champollion later dies, and you can get a part of this book, if you read this book, starting from chapter 3 on into chapter 10. Diop talks about it, but Diop doesn't allude to it. He just said that Champollion is very disgusted with what he finds in this tomb. It really bothers him because whatever it is, his people are known as savages. And it really bothers him. To get the book, he goes into it. This is Diop, African Origins of Civilization, Myth, or Reality. And he goes into this thing, and you can get it from chapter 3 into chapter 10. But he says that the Nazi Tazi and the Ruti, or the Root, created the Tamahu. Very interesting, because we're talking about basically the Africans. The black man created this mutated, grafted white man. Now, it's interesting about Diop. Diop explains it, and he puts it in there for further study of who picks it up. But remember, he's married to the beast. So therefore, he does not go out and just all out say. He could say it. Now, we know this man is graphic enough to kill the white scholarship in the Western civilization. But yet, he holds back on this pertinent piece. Because if we know he's created by us, then we know that he's not human, because hue means color. We need to check the origin of these words. But so he has problems with that. So he goes and conjures up this whole other theory, the two-cradle theory or whatever, of the white man being mutated in the Ice Age. Well, if he's mutated in the Ice Age, that's funny, just like Gloria P. said. Now, here's a black man that travels up to Europe, mutates in the Ice Age. And yet we got some people that say of a lighter hue, which is still an original people. What you said, these are the real people that adapted by climates, or the other people you see around the world, not the white man. They go up, an Indian type that's coming from the Bering Straits, from Australia one time, coming and mutating in China to what you have, your Chinese type or your Asian type, coming over the Bering Straits, coming into America, populating America. This is your Indian. Another group of Asians come in, populate with them, and this is how you get your Indian people. At first it was an Australoid type people, more on your Australian type. The Australoid. Then you have another type that mutates into China, comes into America, populate with them, and this is how you get this whole American Indian, indigenous American, because Indian is for India. We all understand that. But here's the people that's an indigenous American, goes up into Alaska and makes a culture and ain't mutated yet in Alaska. And here's some people that don't mutate in the ice or whatever you want in Alaska, but yet we got a blue-black African who did live all around the world. We got a blue-black crusty African. Blue-black. Gods at the time, because all pineal glands is open, we'll get into that. Gods at the time go up into Europe and can't take the ice and mutate. But yet we have this person in Alaska that not only makes a culture out of it. Not only does he live in the ice, he makes a culture. You understand? But yet we have the black African, who is the personification of culture. Go up in the Ice Age and we come out with this beast. It don't go that way. The world don't go that way. You see, that's what we're going to prove here today. But anyway, he had to conjure up this because, number one, he's trained by the white man. He's in the white man schools, because we understand all the schools in Africa, the chancellors and all of the system that they're under are either under French system or under the British system or under some type of Islamic system, white Arab system. So therefore, if they write some stuff that's going to pass to be printed in books, that's going to be passed as scholarship, then all the time when they do this, they got to work this stuff in so it's pleasable to the white man. But we know this is not to be the case, because he knew in his Tamahu story, he knew enough about this. And even in the end of the chapters, you're just going to have to study this book because I can't point out where it is. In the chapters, he says that he has read Champollion's, I think it's 13 letters he writes back to Champollion, his elder brother, before he dies, explaining all of this stuff about this mutation of a man he's known, and obviously they explained in the temples what this person really was, and he was very upset about it. Diop reads these so-called, they call them the mass reliefs of Biblium El Muluk and Temple of Seti I. He reads these things, and that means that he knows everything there is to know about this stuff. Because it's funny, because in another part, we have them, Libya. Libya, at an early age, if you trace the culture, it's only populated by the so-called Tamahu. I said, now that's strange. That means that it was populated by the Tamahu who had an early culture, But yet the white man mutates up here and is in barbarism, but he has enough sense to come down in his barbaric state and take over some black people. It don't make no sense. Then we understand that we have in Kemet, with Menes, or normal as some people say, goes in and he has to liberate upper and lower Kemet from a barbarian, mainly these Tamahu. You see, there's a lot of holes that's missing in the history, and a lot of people are confused about this stuff. You see, did the white man come and see? Was the white man in the caves, caves and hills of Europe as a barbarian? Then what is this man doing down here, fighting? Now you have the if you can get the papyrus, you can get it out of the book, Ewalish Budge's book, From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt. Budge's book, awesome piece of work. All black people should have that if you want to know some stuff about Egyptian mythology, as well as the master stuff. It's only $9. You can get it at the Sphinx, or you can order it. In that book, there's that papyrus, there was the I think it's called the Contention Horus and Seth, where they talk about this war that's going on in the Nile Valley, even before Menes even comes in, and they kick these people all out in Europe. You see? So it's something about this holes in all of this stuff. And so what we need to do is we need to go all the way back and find out what's going on with this whole beast thing. Let's trace this thing back. Number one, if you was talking to C. Freeman L., he talks about the Akashic records. What these Akashic records is, right in your own memory bank. If you go high enough to get to the God state, there's a whole vast body of knowledge that will open up to you. You see? And we do know that the original people at least have access to this. The white boys can't do it. And all. Elijah Muhammad hit on this 66 trillion years of history, and we laughed at this stuff. You know, in his message to the black man, 1967 or 68, he hits on this stuff, and we go, oh, this is the most ridiculous, bizarre type of history. And we disregard it. We didn't know that there's some stuff called Akashic records. And this contactee, Master Farad Muhammad, as well as his own self going to a high God state later on, because if you look at the message to the black man and look at the theology of time that just came out, it's a great piece of work. And this is coming from his mind, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But the teachings, the supreme wisdoms at first, is coming from Master Farad. He writes this book, and we think it's some gross amount of just mythology. The New York Times says that he's a master psychologist. And we take that as, well, he's just a psychologist. He knew the history of his people. Here's a book. It's been out of print. It just came back in, but it was out of print. It was in Health Research, which is a company that prints out-of-print books. Now, here's a guy, Rudolf Steiner, who is one of the great masters of the occult. Right? One of the great masters. Let that brother in, if you want to come on in. Tell him to come on in. Yeah. One of the great masters of the occult, Rudolf Steiner. And the name of this book is called Atlantis and Lemuria. And all. Now, he has a whole section of books on him. Not only does he have books on him, he has books, other people writing on his theories. And all. And in his book, he says this book is coming from the Akashic records. And when I'm looking in this book, the last chapter, remember that Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that was it one of the patriarchs blew the moon from the earth. You heard that before. Which one was it? Grandfather Shabazz or one of those? I can't think of who it was. The blue moon from the earth. Always after that. Even Farrakhan in 1991, Savior's Day, repeats this. I said, oh, wow. Here's the cracker right here talking about it in his last chapter. The separation from the moon and the earth. Separation from the moon and the earth. In here he talks about, in Atlantis, we have Manu, you say Manu or Yakub, whatever, coming from his Akashic records, creates this germ, makes this germ to create a new race of men, you see. But see, this was a white boy that wrote this in 1922, you see. And years before the message to the black man, saying the same thing. But as usual, we got to validate things through the whiteboards and all. We understand that. Now, and I know where this stuff is now, my pictures. We want to go to the Atlantean period. My friend right here that does research with me, his name is Robert Calloway. He'll be speaking here soon. Oh, you wanted to introduce me, buddy?
Sorry.
If you want to hear him, he's going to be dropping the Wednesday night at Clark College with me. We got a series going on at Clark, and he's going to be dropping on the cycle, which we need to know about. It's free, so come out. It's in the boys' dormitory, Crawley Hall. Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We got a little forum going on with a group of young scholars, and we're going at it. He's going to be dropping on the cycle. So you got to understand all this about the cycles. But anyway, you might pass this around, and I can also give you a copy of this. That's the Tamahu, the looks of them. Some of you got some at the Revolution 101 conference. Now I might give you a copy of that before we get out of here. You see that there's a white boy in there. You can tell the white boy. There's a white boy in there that's the Tamahu, and you get some picture of what those 4 men at the Temple of Seti I was. But a partner and I, number one, Gerald Massey explains that this whole Atlantis period, this whole Atlantis that they're talking about, number one, says that we understand that when you talk about water and a place that's submerged under water, that comes from the whole flood thing. If you trace that flood myth back from Kemet, which is the oldest part of this civilization that we know of the civilization on this earth, you trace it all the way back to the deluge of the Nile, around the Tanzania, Lake Nyanza, what's that? Right, not the Aswan, on down. They call it Lake Victoria now, I don't want to use that word. Uganda, that area where you have the Twa people and all that, they have a great deluge and a flood. So Massey traces it back to there. We later on trace this thing, me and my partner, say, well, wait a minute, this Atlantis is mainly a code word, because we also know that our Afrocentric scholars tell us about continental drift, where you had one continent, and Asa Hilliard did a whole lecture on that back in 1990. Continental drift, where you would have this one mass land, and this one mass land that later on drifts. So we trace Atlantis back to a code word meaning the land when the black man ruled this entire earth. That sounds more still going back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Told you about that before. You see. Now they want to put this fictitious place in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that didn't have anything to do with Kemet at first and say, hey, this is popular. But either way, like my brother back here said, it's still all black people. You see, it's still all black people. But because we do know that in all of the literature on the literatures that's not so spooky, that's on Atlantis, all of that literature, they all say that at one time, all the pineal glands, which is the third eye or the black dot, was open in all the people at one time. We'll go into that and explain that. But the point is, the mythology is what I'm interested in. See, if we're going to trace this thing, we got to trace this thing from the mythology. And the oldest mythology that we can even think about is the mythology. If you want to picture this, I always pass this out. This calendar's been giving me good luck ever since I've been lecturing in the Temple of Dendera. I'm going to pass that round, show people that calendar. This is the oldest mythology that we know of, because it's even older than the pantheon that we know of in dynastic Kemet or pre-dynastic Kemet. It's older than that. In that zodiac, we have the first primordial god, Apit Atayurt, which means earth, or Apit, which is a water cow, a pregnant hippopotamus, the pregnant hippopotamus meaning the womb, and the first deity is a woman. Now let's get this straight.
That's right.
Because I had an argument with a brother that called me and we argued about 3 nights. Let's get this straight. We got to be honest if we're going to get out of this mess.
That's right.
The first deity known to mankind all over the world is not a group of deities, it's not a large pantheon at first, it's one prototypical African woman. In Africa, being that they put the mythology in the nature of animals, because they know that thousands of years, cultures will change, people will change, but animals will never change. They symbolize the pregnant black woman as a hippopotamus god, which is Apit. This time, tired. This time she has no consort. You gotta have a god, you gotta have a goddess. There's no god. It's only this woman. So now what this means, if it's not a consort, this is what this means. This means one thing. There's no such thing as a male principle. It's only a female principle with the masculine half of the female principle. We know that's embodied in the black woman already. Because we do know the baby that's born is female first before it develops into a male or female. So the half, there's no such thing as a male principle. It's the masculine half of the feminine principle. You see? So this first consort, or the first deity, is the black woman. I always get excited. Why? Because I was raised by two black women. My father died in 1970. I was raised by my grandmother, who was hell on wheels. She didn't take no stuff. And I was raised by my mother, who didn't take no stuff. I would much rather have a father for them two doggone disciplinarians. You see what I'm saying? These are my two brothers right here. Can I bear witness? They whipped that ass. Good. They whipped that ass. And right now, then they get, you know, when you get older, they don't beat you no more, but they'll take, it's even worse, your mother might as well take a switch. You can handle that. But they might take something like the TV and throw at you. And you go, wait, this woman is fool. She takes something big and heavy, so I can't hurt it with the switch no more, so I'll take the TV and throw it. So I can bear witness to this. That's why when I learned that the black woman is the source, is the superior one, that's right. And I had no problem with that. With her being the microcosm, macrocosm thing. And I had no problem with that. Because I knew it all the time, and you know it too. The only you got problems is when you try to stand up. Submission is power. Yeah, submission is power. So now with the black woman, we have that calendar. Interesting about that calendar. In the calendar, it's built in the Ptolemy period. This temple of Dendera. The temple of Hathor at Dendera. It's built in the Ptolemy period. Now, when this temple is built, this is almost, you can say that Egyptian history is over by the time the Greeks roll in. The Kemet history is over. But, as Asa Hilliard and other scholars tell you, that the priests still ran the show. Because those boys, those Greek boys, when they came in, they were still scared of what they had taken over. So they really mind their business. When they got in, the priest told them what to do, they did it. Priests would come and say, yo, we need a temple built. The Greeks didn't build a temple. The Greeks said, okay, build a temple, and the Egyptians built the temple. And in this temple, they tore down an older temple. And in that temple was a crack in the wall. And in that wall, they got a crack out. They got some papyrus out to tell them how to construct the new temple, and the blueprints for it, all on the crack. You see, with all of the mythology to put in the wall, because these are nothing but walking libraries, or stone libraries you go into in Alabama. So they built this temple and put a big old ceiling in the calendar. The Greeks later, the French later roll in and take it off the wall. The beast said, I got to have it, and take it and put it in the Louvre in Paris. This big, huge calendar in the center. And they call it the zodiac, but it's called the planisphere. The French call it, that's the planisphere. And they take this and they take it back to the Louvre in Paris. But they build this big old thing in Kemet, this planisphere, and the mythology in here is unlike the mythology that they have been serving for the last 10,000 years. The mythology is from one of an older date that we could trace back, and we could say, if we're going to talk about this Atlantean period, mythology is that of that black woman. Now, she has a son. The son is called Set or Sut. Sut is what the Africans used to say, or Sut or Sut is what they used to say. The Greeks call it Set. You have this, her son, his name is Set. He's known as the prototype of the devil, but he's not the devil at first. He's a good god. He's a good god at first, and he's given the dominion over all of the celestial pole and all of the planets, all of the stars and all of the universe. He's given dominion over all this. And he is the prototype in which Osiris, Ra, Ptah, Horus, you would say Osar, Ra, Ptah, Heru. All of these were fashioned after this good God, Sut, or Set, at first. Something interesting happens. Now we got to know that the mythology is explaining some part of science. Something interesting happens. All of a sudden, he falls from glory. Now Set, or Sut, is known as a blue-black god at first. The first primordial patriarch of all times. His star is known as Sirius at first. As known as Sirius, which is the primordial star of all time. Which is the great provider that gives the water to the Nile that actually gives the blood flow to this planet. It's called Sirius. It is our sun's sun. It is the sun behind the sun. Our sun is a huge, vast body. Then you have a sun 16 times greater. This is our sun's sun. So if you would go to a heavenly realm, when you would transform into a heavenly realm, either dead or alive, depends on what you want to do. And you're walking around, the sun you would see would not be your sun, would be Sirius, our sun's sun. But anyway, getting back to Set, or Sut. Set, it has dominion over his whole mother's creation. It is interesting. You see about the Akashic records, it never ceased to amaze me about Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The reason why I talk about him, because I know it get on scholars' nerves. You see what I'm saying? Because they're still trying to validate things to the white boy. But not going out and trying to get the supreme wisdom for their own self. He has a son by the name of Rasul Muhammad. This is his baby son. And he's the minister over the mosque in Detroit. I got a friend that goes to the University of Michigan, used to go to Morehouse. And he said he was explaining to him about Massey's works and about, you can get a lot of the great mother in John G. Jackson's Man, God, and Civilization, who is Masseyite. So he's explaining to him about this. He said, oh, that's funny. It's funny you're talking about this woman God. He said, because my father told me before he died that Allah created himself out of the feminine half of the universe. You see how these Akashic records and this supreme knowledge, how he's working it in to give to a people today in an organized religion today? You understand? Which Allah simply means all, and if you get the Kabbalion, right in the Kabbalion, the word for all is coming from the teachings of Tahuti, and Allah means all in all, and that all is right in the Kabbalion, which coming from Tahuti, which means it's an older source. So we can trace everything we want to back to the Nile Valley and on back further. So he says it's interesting that this, my father said that this stuff was created this God was created from Allah was created from the feminine half of the universe, which means the womb, which Afet is saying is explaining the womb. Now Set, or Sut, all of a sudden, in the mythology, supposedly, he falls from glory. Same Lucifer thing that you get in the Bible, how Lucifer was the devil, was a great angel and all. Because remember now, the great gods that you see in Kemet, they say, oh, this what you call it, not a monotheistic, but polytheistic religion. They got all them gods. Those gods later on in the biblical term turn into angels. You want to trace them, you trace them into angels. Massey talks about that. Turn into angels. Still a polytheistic religion, if you want to put it that way. But we understand that polytheism is actually the God one, or the one God. Get ancient Egypt, fetish to God, 1935, the year Ewalis Budge dies. He said, I wrote Gods of the Egyptians 15 years earlier, and I've been wrong this whole time. He said the gods was always a monotheistic religion. He said, what I'm seeing is different aspects of the one religion, of the one God. Put them all together like a piece of puzzle, and you got one God, or the God one. It always was a monotheistic religion. But if it was a polytheistic religion, would it ever make any difference? Would it? Not really, because somebody told you you're supposed to worship one God, but we won't get into that. But it's a monotheistic religion. See what I'm saying? Same thing. Now this Set, or this Sut, getting back to him because I want to move it on. He falls from glory because people are still worshiping the mother and not worshiping him. You can get a story of this in Gerald Massey's book, Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, Volume 1, which is good now because we couldn't get it at first, but through health research and these spiral-bound paperbacks for 70, you can get the hardbacks now for the same price. Or you can also, from Black Classic Press, they have printed a softback for like $24 a piece for both volumes. So creator's working. But anyway, he falls from glory because he wants people to worship him, and they're still worshiping the mother. Now, all of this is a mythological story to explain some scientific terms in the realm of the occult. Now, going to Atlantis. Supposedly Atlantis, which is this same period, which is nothing but Africa, personified as the whole world when the black man was God and the black woman was God and ruled the whole world. The magicians, or what you would say the priests, I don't want to use that word magicians because that word magic is kind of spooky. The metaphysicians, the occult sciences, you would say the esoteric scientists. That'll be a good one.
Sacred scientists.
Right. Sacred scientists. The priests. They understood that there was different realms of the spiritual world. I don't want to get into it right off. And in those worlds, if they are God and they transform these chakras up to the pineal gland, they could travel in these worlds and they could do work in these worlds. Well, supposedly, these priests were doing work in these worlds with the initiates. And they abandoned the initiates too far. An account on this is some books that I asked them to order. They got them in. It's called The Astro Body by A.E. Powell. We got some here. Y'all buy them before this thing is over. In the chapter on the human artificials. Check. Now, they were doing work in this world. And so-called they left the initiates up too long. Now remember, in this metaphysical world, your own thoughts has got just as much weight in the universe as the planets and as your physical body. It's no different. Because you understand that's the spiritual world. And they left them in, and it was an experiment that went bad. And when they brought them back down, it created an artificial thought form. Artificial thought form, which is a cosmic energy in the heavens. And all documented. So, basically, we have C.W. Ledbetter, which is a big-time Mason. Big-time Mason in the Theosophical Society that's started by Mame Blavatsky, this white girl that knew that she better get her white people into some occult sciences because by the time 1914 come around, they would be gone. So, C.W. Ledbetter and Annie Besant, which is a woman that was in the society. Number two, she's a 33rd degree Mason, as well as Blavatsky, a 33rd degree Mason. Now, if the beast can put a woman in Masonry, y'all better talk to them doggone whoever, Prince Hall or whatever, and say, look, we're going to get to the new eon, even though that's a social organization, we need to do something by putting the women up into the Masonic order. See what I'm saying? Put them in. Because if the white girls can be up in here, 33rd degree, then ain't no sense for the black woman to be walking around here with calling herself an Eastern Star. He's got to have a man present each time they do some stuff. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, Ledbetter talks about this artificial thought forms, and he talks about this time during Atlantis. We use the word Atlantis as a code word for just say black people ruling the universe at this time and ruling the earth. You see, we'll say that this thing going wrong, for sake of argument, we'll say around 6,000 years because we can trace this white boy back to this time. So let's say in Africa instead of Atlantis, because number one, when Plato heard about Atlantis, he heard it from the priest, and when he heard it, he only heard it was a place that sunk under the water. It was called Atlantis. And he took this back to Greece, and they had 300 books been written on it ever since. From that little bit of information. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, Ledbetter, when he's talking about Africa, or let's give it a new word, because we don't even need to use Africa at this time. Let's say the black man's dominion, or the black woman's dominion. I want to put the woman in there. At this time, he said that this Aryan race was created at the time that this artificial thought forms are created on the astral plane. Check? You following? I want to try to make it simple because it's real complex. Anyway, these white boys are the actual Atlantean period, or the African period, or the black man's period. This race of people were created, and they were created on a lunar region. In this lunar region, when you go into the astral planes of the heavenly worlds, the lowest level of the lunar region, the lowest level is the lunar region, because we got higher worlds. Okay, I'm going ahead of myself. Just keep that in mind. Now we're going into Kemet. Going back to this Tamahu. Now all of a sudden, when we get Kemet and we get the dynastic period, we got them uniting the land with some barbarians. But what happened was, going back to the set, now let's jump back to the set type, because I'm trying to tie all this into you. During this set typing and period, after he falls, somehow he falls and he becomes not a blue-black god, but he becomes a mutated white god based on that papyrus that I just gave you all, and I'll give the rest of you all some of that in a minute. He becomes a white god. So what happens is, they have to unite the land from a group of barbarians, not black people. Black people were once gods. Well, if black people were once gods, how can you be in Kemet uniting the land from some barbarians? You understand? And then we have Libya that's inhabited by the same barbarians, which we call this Tamahu, which is just created white man. You understand? Now, then all of a sudden, when the land is united, and they kick them on out and push them on back up into Europe, we will say that this is the Great Migration period, because we know that those black people, when it did come Ice Age time, they just got the hell on back to Africa. They didn't stay around in no ice and mutate. That's a lie. So they take them on back up into Africa. Now, when I get into this stuff, I'm going to show you some actual stuff that the white boy said. I promise you, I'm not even going to use a black scholar. I already used Diop at the beginning. I'm going to use it with the white boys. So it won't be no lie. We don't have to say that all that nigga there is trying to make up some stuff about the white man being the devil from some black hocus pocus strange mythology. I'm going to tell you all what the white boys are dealing with in the occult realm and in that white masonry of the Illuminati and all the stuff that you've been wondering all them years. I wonder what they're teaching in there. You see? But they unite this land. And when they unite this land, all of a sudden, the mythology before then has turned into Set Typhon being the prototype of the devil, right? Being the prototype of the devil, and also he's being the adversary of Osiris, who is a black god that later on becomes the judge and the prototypical god of humanity at this time, along with Ra being or whatever. So I don't want to go into the Egyptian mythology too much because I want to explain this point. So all of a sudden we got this fall. We got Set being this god of that Osiris and Ra and Ptah is all fashioned behind, and now we have him as the prototypical devil. But are they talking about myth? Are they talking about mere mythology? Are we talking about a scientific people that did everything, that went around the world, both in space and both on the earth? Now they're not going to sit up here and argue over stupid mythology. Oh, you worship Set. We got the Set worshipers that I explained in my earlier video, all about Set worship going on in Kemet. They were talking about some type of practice. Well, what kind of practice? They were talking about, all of a sudden, we have the Hyksos period, which is the first invasion. And then if you get the books, you can get, let's see some good books. All the Hyksos were Set worshipers. Well, wait a minute. If these people invaded from the outside, how could they be Set worship? See, there's some funny hocus-pocus things that's going on right in Kemet. You see, the uniting of the two kingdoms was among black people. I'm setting you up for the kill. A group of people is practicing a certain ritual, and a group of people is practicing another certain ritual. You see, the so-called Atlantean people, if we trace it back, had this power to create and make gods and be God. But this same power that they had, they could either use this power for good, or could they use this power for evil. So obviously this Set Typhon, that this evil religion, and talking about this evil deity, has got to be talking about some type of metaphysical practice more than it is we arguing over statues and deities that you say this is the devil and principle. They're talking about practices. Now we get the Hyksos period, and all of a sudden they're saying the Hyksos are people that worship Set. Well, you can get this in Massey's Book of the Beginning, Volume 2, or you can get this in a new book by Donald Redford called Egypt, Israel, and Canaan. Book called Donald Redford, new book, as well as there's a lot of sources. It said that the Hyksos worship Set. Well, that's funny, because the Hyksos, most of them, even Martin Bernard traces them all the way back to Palestine. He traces them back to Palestine based on a document that's coming from Manetho, and later on repeated in a hostile article with the great Josephus in his books, The Histories of Josephus, talks about an article called Against Apion, which was an Egyptian priest. But anyway, we trace them back to Lebanon. Well, if this is an Egyptian god, what would the people in Lebanon or Palestine be worshiping an Egyptian deity? Is this all holes in it? Okay, now this Hyksos people are in, and they're worshiping Set. But it's funny. Both a guy out of London, England, by the name of Kenneth Grant, as well, who is a Masseyite, and both Gerald Massey in Book of the Beginning, Volume 1, in the Egyptian origin of the Hebrews, as traced from the monuments, historical piece of work, said that it wasn't just a takeover by some adversaries. Number one, we got this vast land. Number one, it's the only civilization going at the time. And yet we're going to have some doggone nomads that come in, 10 strong, and take over a whole Kemet. It don't make sense. But even Dr. Ben said himself, he said, look, he said that there's something that went on in that period that they're very ashamed about. And so they wiped it all from the monuments. They were good with it. They wiped the stuff from the monuments. So what happened is, like what Massey is saying, makes a whole lot of sense. What you had is you had two priesthoods going. You had the Set worships, and you had the newly Osirian religion worship. And the Set worshippers took over right there in Kemet. Remember now, in this dynastic period that we are all fascinated about is actually the decline of the black man and black woman being God. This is the decline period. You see? They say a little bit after the third dynasty, they never got it together again. And figure out all that decline. You got all that greatness that the people in this world, in this realm, are going crazy about. That letting you know the African right to be wrong. But anyway, it said that the Hyksos was nothing but a group of Egyptian priests and a group, a culture, because you know the priests that have their own people in the culture take over and rule for 150 years. You see? And they are called the Set worshippers. See, I wouldn't go in, I could say they would be a foreign people, but what are they doing worshiping the same religion? You see? It's the, and a small group of people that nobody else in the ancient world in that part of the area was strong enough to take over Kemet when they were so-called supposed to be at the height of power. You see? The real deal behind this is it was a sexual practice. Now we're getting into this creation of the white man. It started a couple of thousand years ago. We would say that some of the first creations, since the white man can't trace his history back to 6,000 years, we could say that the manifestation of that happened in the 6,000 year period. And all up until this time, you have a division in religion. You have Set Typhon being the adversary of Osiris, which means the enemy of the black man. The black man is God and is able to go to realms. The white man is the devil. You understand? So we actually not talking about mythology. You know, it's mythology for the commoner, the everyday person. But as a person evolves, he understands the real esoteric science behind the religions. So we have two religions going on. We have the Set worshippers that worship Set, and then we have the mythology of Osiris that's worshipped by the greater part of Kemet, and then we have the Set worshippers taking over. Well, what is this Set worship? This Set worship is going into a mythological practice. Now later on we have, unfortunately, we have I gave you the chorus fragments You can get in touch with me again. I gave you the chorus fragments back in August with the Hebrews being a part of that Set worship being kicked out. We know this because they worship the ass, and Set ends up not the mythological devil no more, but he ends up the third son of Adam and Eve. Check in your own Bible. Whole lot of funky stuff going on. You see. Third son of Adam and Eve. You see. As well as the Libyans who worship Set, because but then the Egyptians say the Libyans are Tamahu. So this Set thing is tied in along with this white boy. Now in that heretic papyrus of the British Museum that I gave you foreign countries who don't have one, come pick one up on the desk. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a few. Just pick one up. It says right here in the Egyptian Book of Dreams, the characteristics of the followers for the Asiatics in the corrupt passage. For the followers of Set, I jumped the line. For the followers of Set are enumerated. It is surely not by chance that we find the Asiatics here in a corrupt passage. Now the Asiatics, remember this whole part was Asia. There wasn't no such thing as Europe at the time. You see. But not only, well, there's a lot of people in Asia. Why they got to be the white boys? But they go on to say in here, they locate a particular region. It may be going too far to suppose, according to the Book of Dreams, that the followers of Set are typical foreigners. This is later on. Now, this is later on. The followers of Set is actually talking about a group of people more than it is talking. In Egyptian, in Kemet, it's talking about a practice that a group of black people are doing at one time. But this time, when they're talking about foreigners, they're talking about a group of people. The foreigners, foreigners are typical foreigners, and that the foreigners are Sethian people. Their sexual conduct is reprehensible. They are given to drink. They are quarrelsome and murderous. They will indeed, now listen to this, they will indeed not reach the West, but they will reach the neither world. Now, what does that mean? The West is the path of the sun, the Alpha and the Omega. It's the yin and the yang. It's the lower chakras to the Kundalini, which is the highest God form. They say they will not reach the West. What they mean in a heavenly realm is they will not reach the path of the sun going from starting from east and ending up in the West. And later on, this whole world ends up in the West, which is the heavenly region. They will not reach that part, but they will reach the neither world. Now, the neither world is the lower part of the astral planes, the lower part of heaven for all you churchgoers. When you die, you come out of your physical body into your astral body, and you go to heaven. Or if you God enough right now, you can do it every night if you want to. Come to the man tomorrow, and he'll teach you how to do this for the next remaining of the weeks or whatever. But I'm gonna do it in I'm gonna do it by next week, because when this cosmic energy coming along, I'm gonna invoke a UFO off that astral plane. We're gonna kick some ass soon. That's right. And I'll get into that in the solution part of this lecture. Now, the astral world. The neither world is the lower part of the astral world. So when they say he will not reach the West, that's the heavenly, the last frontier. Like they say, the final frontier. You hear UFO, Star Trek, the final frontier. The neither world is this neither world. It is the lowest manifestation. It is the judgment, the amente, the personification of what the later on Hebrews get and you use as hell. But Osiris, a black man, being the people that's going to judge these people, which means us. Understand? Am I clear? Everybody all right? Okay. He will reach the neither world. Now, going a little far. So, now we have tied this thing down. Keep this in mind, because we're going to talk on this neither world, and remind me again if I go too far. Now, then what is it? What is so bad about this set typing and stuff? What is it? What is so bad? Well, it goes like this. there's a practice that is done where, and I want to read it for you. Let me get it. There's a practice that is done in procreation. Well, you can get with your woman after you have evolved of these chakras, going to the black dot or the higher realm, the kundalini, the third eye, the pineal gland opening up. This kundalini practice, you can get to a person, get to a certain thing while you're doing sex. You know, Farrakhan did a lecture back in 1988, The Black Agenda, where he said that we don't even know how to procreate. There's a science behind creating. Well, what they are actually talking about is a creation or a sexual thing where the black man and black woman used to create gods. You used to create gods. Or they say that other child. You could either create Horus or Heru, which is the prototypical Christ, which Christ being a title, meaning the anointed one, rather than a historical person, even though there is a historical Jesus, a mythical Christ, which is a scientific Christ, which all you can become Christ by going to a higher realm. You can either create Christ, or you can create that other child, who is that hidden God, Set, which is Satan. You understand? Now when they're talking about this fall, he comes from black and he falls and he ends up a foreigner and white. He ends up a mutated person. It's interesting, I said on the last video, now I want to keep this about this horse, and I'm going to look down on that, and I don't want to get my train of thought messed up. But it's interesting. They say out of the four deities of that family, which in Budge's book, Osiris, the Egyptian Resurrection, Volume 2, he said that family that they're talking about, Isis, Osiris, I give the Greek names, Isis, Osiris, Set, and Nephthys, is actually one human family. That's all it is. You see, once you go to this astral realm, you become God. You God on earth, you become God up there. We worship you as God. It's a whole science behind it. That's all there ever is, all there ever will be. We need to get out of this spookism going into the year 2000. But anyway, these four people, you have Osiris, you have Isis, and you have Nephthys, which is Isis's sister, which is Set Typhon's wife. All of them, those four people, Set Typhon is the only one out of all those people that don't have a human head. You see? Don't have a human head. But now we understand that these prototypical figures are not talking about some type of spooked up God, but it's actually talking about human people in human situations. So now this Set Typhon is talking about a mutation. In there they say he leaps forth out of his mother's womb because he's reborn again. Number one, he's an older God, then he's reborn again with I think it's what, Newton Gale. He's reborn again, and he gets impatient, just like the God Ogu, the pale fox, pale meaning white. He gets impatient, Set gets impatient, and leaps forth out of his mother's womb. And he becomes nothing but the vomit of the mother's womb. They're talking about scientific equations here of a mutated person. So in this it says you can have this workout in London England coming from the white boys. You can have, which we already knew, you can have a God, you can get in here in meditation. You can get in here and you can have doing sex based on both of you elevated to a higher region of the pineal gland, the spine, the black dot, the pineal gland, the highest manifestation, the crown chakra, all of this opening up. When you get in having sex, you can shoot it up and you can have a child of doing sex, a child of Horus, or Heru, which would be Jesus, who was patterned after that, which is you can have a God child. Or you can take these things up the chakras, and once this crown chakra and this kundalini is open, you can direct this energy on back down the chakras, which you have 7 chakras, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The first 3, this is the one below the navel, disregard the drawing. These 3, these are your lower chakras, right? You can direct these things back here, and you can have a baby off of them lower chakras. I almost told you that the man was created out of the lower nature of the black man. Check? All scientific. Whole big old book. You can get it called Metaphysics of Sex. Metaphysics of Sex. set. Julius Evola, Metaphysics of Sex. Talking about sex tantra. Sex tantra. White boys are doing it now in their societies. You're having sex on a high level. When you're opening up with yoga, breathing, kundalini, pineal gland, becoming on a high level, you're having sex. They're trying to regraft themselves back into black. Can't do it. Look. Now, all you can do, create it off of these large chakras. Now, Ledbetter, in his book, The Astro Body, as well as the Astro Plane, says that whatever it was, he said that the black magicians of Atlantis. Now, what does that mean? That means the black people from way back then, you're going to say, get out of these code words. He says that they used to fool around with them lower chakras. Once they had opened up, once you activate the kundalini, fool around, you can direct it down. They used to fool around with those lower chakras. So now they're talking about the fall of man is actually a scientific code of how, not the fall, because it had to happen. We get into this argument, he's right. It had to happen. But they talk about this set typhon is a scientific code for a sexual tantra practice where they started creating stuff off of the lower chakras. So he says you can have a child of Set, a child of Horus, or a child, that other child. Let's see what that other child is. He means Set. Well, let's see what that other child is. Let's see what that other child is, baby. Let's see here. The child of Horus in this sexual tantra practice. Now later on, this other way we do it becomes a practice. Remember now, the Egyptians or the Africans, they did everything within the confines of a spiritual manifestation or some type of practice. You understand? Now, so whatever happened way back then, it became a practice enough to populate enough people to have this European or what we have today. Okay, you understand? Everybody with me? Anybody unclear? Okay. Or this other child. Let's see what this other child is. Or that other child. Now, a footnote. Say, turn to page 1 something. These are some notes coming from England now. Coming from England. I'll give you some books to refer to this because you can't get this stuff. But I'll give you enough stuff to set you on your way if you want to document it to your friends. Or that other child, a non-human being with supernormal powers and intelligence. You see, if he's a soulless one and he's a non-human being, the only thing he got going for him is a high intellect. Don't let nobody fool you. The devil is smart. He got to be smart to put God in hell. You understand what I'm saying? He'll smart you every day. Or non-human. Now we're getting ready to get down now.
Go ahead.
Now, we're getting ready to get down. Okay. So now we see that this practice is going on. This whole war that's going on, this mysterious war with this whole Set typhon and the Set worshippers, is a group of people that started producing mutated children from a sexual practice of the sexual tantra. Sexual tantra is a good thing at first because the gods used to do it to procreate other gods. Now, all of a sudden, the people start procreating this other child, non-humans, because hue means color.
That's right.
Hue means color. Now, so, now we understand. Now Gardner, Alan H. Gardner, who translates part of that Hieratic Papyrus, has a book that never got across the Atlantic and never was translated into English called Abduction Extraordinaire. And in that he says, above Kemet, below Kemet, normal people. Above Kemet, she's talking about that Asia, on up, abnormal people. Coming around the hieroglyphic. He's a hieroglyphics expert. You can't get it, but you just got to understand the name of these people if you want to document things. Alan H. Gardner. I think his grandson is Martin Bernard. So we understand how he's able to, once he's woke up by Dr. Ben, he's able to go into it and write all these books. His great-grandson or grandson, one of the two. Now, got a book called Abduction Extraordinaire. Now, this sexual practice, let's get a little information on this. If things are created from the lower chakras, right? That means that because it wasn't created from the higher chakras, that meant that it could never have something that was on the higher chakras, which is the highest part of man. It could never have this part fully because it wasn't created from that part. You understand? It's calcified. You see, and Richard King tells you, who is a medical doctor, that when it gets to this part up here, this part, it ain't nothing but a big old rocks, like rocks. It ain't nothing but a big old bone to the white boy. It's calcified. So now, we're talking about astral projection, and we're talking about going to your higher self. When he gets to a certain level, when he's meditating, when he gets to that highest part, he can only hear voices. He can never step on into the other realm. You understand? Which the other realm, this is called the astral plane, which all people inhabit this part until they go to other levels. But he can never go nothing but the highest part of the astral plane, which is the sub-plane or the lowest plane, which is us. Then there's another realm called the Devashanic plane, which is the heaven plane. He can't dwell up there. He can't do it. Because in order to dwell up here, we are what you call the microcosm of the macrocosm. As above, so below. Understand? As above, so below. Now, if we're the microcosm of the macrocosm, since he was created on such a low part, what's this? Okay, well, we'll get to some of that. Since he's created on such a low part, he can only go to the highest part, which is the sub-level, which is the very, let's say, halfway to the pineal gland, where he can get up in there enough to astral project and go to other regions. But he cannot go on into the black dot, which is the eye of Horus, which is that good stuff, which is the heavenly gland, which is the Devashanic plane, which is the higher heaven planes, the highest plane being the highest plane being the Sirius. Because when we say this heaven plane, I have done some work to say that on this part is the sun behind the sun, which is Sirius. You understand? So, now, let's go into a little bit of Elijah Muhammad's Yaqub, because we got a story too. So we got to use all our brothers and sisters. They always say, Charles Fitz say, you get the white man stuff, then let's look at what the black people are saying. Well, you know the whole Yaqub story about Yaqub took a group of people to an island of Patmos, and by grafting, he grafted this white man. You understand that? Well, and he said he was created off of the lower chakra. But he also said that since he's created and he's created on this earthly realm, when he dies or whenever, he can only go back to this earthly realm. But now this earthly realm, the highest region of this earthly realm is right outside of the earth, which is the lunar region, which is the astral region. So this white boy can only go to that part. Now, I want to read some stuff coming from, to document some things. I want to read some stuff coming from Ledbetter. We got the book, The Astro Body, which has got A.E. Powell that's dealing with Ledbetter and Annie Besant. And there's another book that we're going to get next week called The Astral Planes by Ledbetter. C.W. Ledbetter, white boy. But anyway, to go into this, I want to explain something that you've heard. How many people have read the ISIS papers by Frances Fresh Wesson? Whatever. Anyway, she said, well, her theory is she never did buy that mutated. Because in all her stuff mutated in the Ice Age. Because in all her stuff, because when I first started hearing about this stuff, I said, dang, I heard a black scholar talking about this other than Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I remember her saying at one time in the Nile Valley, a group of women started mutating. Started giving these mutants. And they forced them into Europe. And I said, well, this stuff is sounding more and more like what would happen if this white man is in fact a created man, because the Yaku story talks about putting them into the caves and hills. So I said, let me go back to Francis Cress. Go get the ISIS papers again, look back in it, and in one of these parts, I can't get, I'll just wing it, I'll tell you out of my head. In one of these parts, she talks about this mutation and these people being kicked out all over the world, and they tell you about it in the Bible, but they use the word leprosy as a method of telling you these people being kicked out. It's also the same story if you go and get the chorus fragments, if you go and get the works of Josephus, the complete works, in the article against Apion, where they're talking about Manetho, when the Greeks came in and said, well, what about these Hebrews being kicked out of Egypt? Not being kicked out, fleeing from Egypt and the Red Sea and the whole biblical Exodus. They said, oh man, the real story is about that. Is we kicked a group of people out that were Set worshippers. This is what Manetho said. The real story is we kicked a group of people out that were Set worshippers. And in that part they say these people, we put them on an island first, and in this island they caught leprosy and all this type of stuff. That leprosy is talking about a mutation that they are explaining in the Bible. So in this part, she gets, I said, where is she getting her information? And what she did is there's a 1975 article. Can't think of the man, you have to get the book. A 1975 article by some white boy that's explaining mutation and tracing it on how these people who have mutated, or black people who have mutated all over the world and been kicked out. We know behind that is a sexual tantra practice that I just talked about. He didn't go that far, but he didn't go that far in the article, but he knew what was going on because he used the code word in his introduction, in the contents. And he talks about all this, and this is where she's getting her information from, about this mutant. But one thing he did, and I knew the white boys, and I knew the white boy was only something when he did it. I said, I bet that crap a doctor was into the occult, which is tied into the Theosophical Society, the Golden Dawn, the OTO with Aleister Crowley, the Illuminati, the New World Order. You see what I'm saying? I said, I bet this cracker was in here to even make an article like this, because all doctors and lawyers and people in the higher realms are into the occult. That's right. Right? That's right. Okay, I said, well, this is something. And in his article, when he explains it in the 1975 article, he simply puts in the contents that this article is called The Kuna Moonchild Albinism. And I said, oh, I got you now. He said Moonchild. I know what the Moonchild is. Now let me explain what the Moonchild is. Aleister Crowley, who is the greatest occult member of the occult ceremonial magician of all times in England. He's the greatest of all. He went to Kemet. Let me go into this real quick. He went to Kemet. He went into these. He got into the occult practices when he was a young boy. And by, I think he was 21 or something, he went to Kemet, and he went over there, and and the ultimate thing in this ritual is he went over there and said he was so bold, he went over in Kemet and screwed some white boys in the behind over there. Because remember now, what you got to do in these secret societies, when you go a certain point, the main thing you do when you get to the highest levels is you got to screw one of your partners in the behind. Excuse me if I'm saying this stuff in front of some kids, but we got to tell the truth. You got to screw some of these people. So Bush and all these boys, when they're getting initiated, they got to do it. Why? Because they understand one thing that we understood too. You see, in ancient Egyptian mystery schools, the first thing to do to go to higher realms, if you're going to evolve, you got to kill that doggone ego, because the ego is everything to get. We as black people are jealous of each other. We go, and it's all about that ego or some part of that self-esteem. So the best thing you got to do, if you got to be loyal brothers, is you got to kill that ego. If the charter, the organization don't bind you together. Killing that ego binds you together as brothers. Well, we could do that because we're God people and our nature is that way. Well, damn, they're the beast. They couldn't do it that way. So the best way to kill the ego is you dupe one of your partners in the behind. And therefore, you got it. He a man, right? And if he jump all bad with you, you go, I knew something about you. Humble him down, you see? That's how they became humble.
Talking about Shriners now.
Right. This is one thing they got to do. Not in ours, but in theirs. Because they're the devil. If they want to come anywhere close to getting like God, they got to kill that ego. So they got to stick them in the butt. Bush, we know that the black Jesus song. What's the black Clinton? Bill Clinton, the black Jesus for all black people love this guy. Niggas dancing the black Jesus for black people. We know that he is in a sister fraternity. I think it's called the Skull and, not the Skull and Bone. The Skull and Key or something like that. Skull and Key, which is a sister fraternity to the Skull and Bone. So
and
you
a
know
Bilderberger. He's a Bilderberger.
Yeah, we know he's a Bilderberger. The Bilderberger elected him to be the next president in 1990. But we know also, too, that's right. He done got stuck. That key done got stuck in his hole. Okay, back to the story. Aleister Crowley goes to England, goes to Europe, and when he's there, he's into the occult, so he goes into the trance and the yoga and all, and he puts his wife into the trance. And what happens with her is some entity comes in her and starts communicating to him through her, saying, we know who you are. We know who you are. I'll tell you some books to get where you can read all this. So he immediately takes her and takes her to the British Museum, or one of these, not the British Museum, the Cairo Museum. A smaller museum in Cairo, because there's a Cairo and there's another one. Takes her there and said, what in this room is doing this to you? And she went up to a stela, which is, and God, I hope I got a picture of it, which is a slate. A stela is a type of slate or a tablet. And on this tablet it has a priest of set typing and code. And it's an actual priest that lived in the late 20th dynasty. It's one of those dynasties. And he got kicked out of Kemet for practicing set, and he vowed to get back. See how powerful our people are? Right or wrong, you got to believe one thing. You ain't going to get out of this worshiping God. You got to get out of this by becoming God. Otherwise, the people who don't become God, when I get into this, I'm going to get into this solution. People who don't become God, you finish. You see what I'm saying? Not the creator, but God. You got to become the direct manifestation of the microcosm. That what is up there, the macrocosm. You got to become that. Now, the Son of Bum. Right. Brother from Marsh Brown wrote a book on that. Anyway, so he goes in and she sits down and she's giving him this stuff, this thing, and she starts translating this stuff, writing it down as she's telling him, and to translate this book of law. Now in this book of law, he said this is going to be the religion for the white people in the eons to come. Now to make a long story short, he writes a book. Now, let me tell you, now he starts the AA, which is called the Silver Star, which is supposed to be serious. And he got a group of people that's dedicated. Now let me understand. Now this is the people, because I'm going to tell you what's going on in these secret societies that you've been wondering all these years, what's going on. Well, supposedly, May Blavatsky and them, they knew by getting these papyruses out of out of Egypt that their time was going to end soon because they were on a low level. So they said, what we must do is get into the occult sciences, the metaphysical sciences of the New Age, as we call it now, to rise to a high level, and maybe we can prolong our existence on this earth, or maybe we might be able to become God. You see? They say that for what it is, it's supposed to be a key, and we're going to die trying. And up to this point, nobody has done it, so we know they're on their way out. Listen. Anyway, the OTO, which means Ordo Templar Orient, is a group that Aleister Crowley was the head of, and the AA, which means something else. Anyway, these groups are mainly interested in sexual tantra practices, working with going to certain levels on the level that they can go. Where they hear voices because they can't go further. Only original people. And in Ledbetter's book, The Astral Plane, he said, well, maybe we can reincarnate back into original people. Wishful thinking again. And only the original people. But anyway, The Orient, they are dedicated, this secret society that's tied in with the Illuminati, they are dedicated with this sexual tantra practices to try to create this new human. Well, come to find out, they know that they can't create a God human, which is a God which is a black person. So they said, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to graft a grafted mutant 3 times worse than the grafted mutant that we are. Do you know that Hitler was a part of the occult, and Hitler's whole thing was a part of all that, trying to get the perfect white man?
Yeah.
You understand? He was a part of the occult. Well, Aleister Crowley and these boys in England was even before him. Even though Aleister Crowley died in 1947, Hitler had studied the occult and went crazy. They didn't mind his process. They saying, I want to do it my way. They're saying, you messing up the whole game for all of us. So it's a family fight going on who's going to do this the right way. And they ended up having to take Hitler out because of this stuff.
Ford built the
You see, because he went, right. So,
Ford built the oven.
And all them showed it, right.
And DuPont made the gas.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Now,
Right, he had DuPont in them wine.
ain't that something? now, what Crowley and those, their organization is interested in is making this mutant. There's a book you can get just dealing with Hitler, and at the end of the book is dealing with the mutant. And this was a book, it was an underground book. This was an older one from 1965. It used to cost $3 or $4, $5, $1.20 or whatever.
What's the name of it?
But now, and it went out of print. Now I'm going to tell you that. But now this book is called, the name of the book is called The Morning of the Magicians. Now the book is back in print and you can get it for $13. Well, what the knowledge costs? Well, that ain't nothing, you know. We spend it on 6-pack. The 13. So now in this book is detailing what they're dealing with. Now, going back to Crowley. And at the end of the book, they go into the music and they say, the author of that book is called Powles and Berger. Powles and Berger. Louis Powles and Jacqueline Berger. The Morning of the Magicians. You can get it at the Sphinx bookstore. It's $13, but we ain't going to go to the Sphinx no more. We're going to order everything out of this thing right here. Don't worry about it. Come through here. We put out a book list, and we're going to order the stuff right in the black community through black media communication. But when you go there, you ain't going to find but one book in there, and somebody going to get that, and you ain't going to get it anyway. This way we can order a couple at a time, and you can come, and we can do it like that, called The Morning of the Magicians, going through this whole thing. Talk about Atlantis in here and all this, too. Now, so Aleister Crowley group is interested in regrafting, and they got a group of women they call the Scarlet Women, which are women that they have sexual practices with, trying to make this child. Now, Aleister Crowley, what he does, in order to explain the sexual practice, he writes a book. And the book he writes, we're going to get it here too. He writes this book, and this book is about a woman that has a sexual practice, and she ends up having a moon child. You remember what I said about Francis Cress Welsing and the doctor? And I said that the doctor in his article, he said, Kuna, moonchild, albinism. You understand? He was a part of the occult. This is how they can get these things. You see, we're sitting around here worrying about validating things to the white man. We don't know that he's already got the jump on us because he has history that we don't even get. They got thousands and thousands of rolls of papyrus of all this science in all these museums, mainly in the British Museum in the Louvre and in Germany. They got all this stuff. They got papyrus in the bottom of the University of Chicago that they don't even loaded that they don't even let you see. So you sitting up here arguing, saying, "Oh, that's some stupid junk," and because I can't find it in the doggone textbook, something bizarre like all of Elijah Muhammad stuff don't pan out. It's not scholarly. You don't even know that these people got the colonization of scholarship.
That's why they control who learns how to read it.
That's right. And not only that. That's right. And not only that. The occult only means the unknown.
That's all.
This occult sciences is where they house all the stuff. So now we have learned our history. But now we still going and we still getting these history books trying to get a link between all this. And we can't find no solutions because we're not in the right places.
That's right.
That's what the whole New Age movement is about. So anyway, he gets a book and it's called A Moonchild. And in this book, he tells you about the entire process, he doesn't know the real process, because if they knew the real process, they would have created this superhumanoid, a super mutanoid, let's put it this way. So he tells you about the moon child, right? Okay, are you with me? Everybody with me? Everybody cool?
Is that Damien?
Huh?
Is that Damien?
They put it all in their movies.
He's not doing it that way, but he is creating those, what do you call it, your clones and your...
Yeah, all that. He's not doing it. See, what happened was when he couldn't do it through the womb, he had to do it through the test tube. Exactly. They got clones now. They even froze them. They done froze people and woke them back up. Like Khalid Muhammad said, we doing the moonwalk, and they walking on the moon. You see? You see? They doing all, man, these crackers are into it. Now listen, in the Moonchild, it's supposed to be his rendition of the ceremony. So what he's doing is, even though there's ceremony in here on, well, I can't tell you the chapter, we'll get that and all when we come. In chapter 1, 2, 3, on chapter 8, they call them the human Kosos, which is this supposedly this child. In this, he's saying that there's a young woman that goes through this ceremony in this book, and she has a moon child. Now back up. What's a moon child? Well, number one, we understand that, hey, they the moon childs in the first place.
Werewolf.
Yep. And I'm going to get to that too. It's amazing you said that. Now this moon child did not tell you that this is the lunar region and what this astral plane is, and it's the lower region, and this is the lower region of the chakras. So they take this energy and they take it down and they create this. They create a child from the lower region of the chakras, which is the same set type of child, that other child, that non-human. You understand what I'm saying? That's what the moon child is about. You see, right in this book, we can get this book, Aleister Crowley, the moon child, $9.95. We're going to get this and all, so you can read. Now we're laughing at Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they're talking about this, and the white boys are writing in their own literature. And this is not, then this is, you know, let me tell you something about this white boy here. This white boy wrote over 70-something books. He is no joke. Since we got to validate everything with European scholarship, he went to Cambridge, which is a big town, which is bigger than Harvard, which is more, I mean, you don't get no greater than Oxford and Cambridge.
Regardless.
Right? He lived in England, and like Farrakhan said one time, you think this American crack or something, you ain't no match for no English cracker. He go with that shitty ho-ho boy, and he the real beast.
That's right.
He that untouched beast,
That's right.
Not that diluted beast.
That's right.
You understand? So he writes the book, The Moon Child. And he writes the book, The Moon Child. Now, listen. Why would they write this stuff? How do they get all this knowledge? Didn't I tell you that they got papyrus right in Europe? It's explaining all this grafted, mutated stuff and how they were created. That's how they would know how to establish genetics. So they know to establish the secret societies to go to a higher level, because they already know something when they went in the early 1900s, early 1800s, 19th century, when they went into Kemet and got all this papyrus rolled out. Well, it's funny because the papyrus I just gave you is called a Hieratic Papyrus of the British Museum. And it's named the Chester Beatty Hieratic Papyrus, translated by Alan H. Gardner, the famous Egyptologist. Well, Chester Beatty is the person who, so-called, I guess he was the archaeologist or whatever, who found it. You understand what I'm saying? It was a papyrus is under his name, so they named it the Chester Beatty Papyrus. Well, I want to read you something. See, that's why we don't need to deal no more if the white man ain't said that it ain't true in his stuff, because he's not giving you all the knowledge. He would be a fool to give you all the knowledge and take himself out. Well, now, it's funny that now, taking this all the way back to the ancient documents, we don't need to hear no more about the scholars. I don't want to hear no more shit about Finch didn't say it, Diop didn't say it because Diop said it ain't true. Them scholars are punking out to the white scholarship realm so they can get paid, but we don't need nobody telling us no half-truth when billions of black people are dying.
That's right.
We need to know from this point on, we need a group of scholars that's going to tell it.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Look like the man said in Malcolm X. What can he do to you that he ain't already done?
Really?
Right? So we need some people to come out. By scholars that's going to give you some punctified information that's going to give you enough to stimulate you. It's not going to give you enough to put you over the hump and you go out here and get killed by the cracker. Thinking you Afrocentric and thinking you are African, and the only thing you doing is you on the first leg of your history. They say Jesus died from not having enough smart side of the mystery school when them white boys got on his behind in Jerusalem or wherever, right?
He didn't finish school.
He didn't finish school. But we don't need, we got to go, this is the new age.
That's right.
2 years from the 2000, we need the real deal, thorough,
That's right.
undiluted scholarship.
Sure.
People who going to have enough guts to sit up and tell you.
That's right.
And who going to have enough guts when they go to the white boys, they're going to tell it the same way.
That's right.
I don't give a damn if I'm in the same college that what's name got kicked out of, that lost his tenure. Well, he didn't lose his tenure. City College.
Yeah.
When we go to City College, we're going to say the same thing. And let the scholarship lie. Now, Chester Beatty was taking it all the way back. Now I understand how these boys get this type of information. And how these societies know what to do because they got all the papyrus. They actually got the remainder of Kemet in Europe. Even he tell you, when you go to Kemet, you go to the large tombs and it's a miraculous experience. We need to go. But he said all the stuff is over in Europe. The real knowledge that they took out of there 140, 50 years ago, maybe 200 years ago. You understand? Now, Chester Beatty, in a book called The Gate Dreams. Dreams is very important, and gates don't mean nothing but the gates, the levels of the astral plane you go into, either when you're dreaming, either when you're astral project, or either when you die and you go to other levels, the heavenly realm. This is what all this is, and you got to get through these gates. So he said gate dreams. We got a book called Egyptian Heaven and Hell, commonly known as the Book of Gates. It's talking about that. By Buzz, you get it for $5.
Brother,
In this book,
do you have to have a key to open those gates?
y'all gonna right. Booyah. Right. And we ain't talking about the kind of key that open them kind of gates that we were talking about a few minutes ago. We talking about that off right there. Key of life. Tree of life, key of life. Funny. Look. Yeah, let me get on with it. The Gate Dreams. Now this is Chester Beatty, the same guy that wrote this papyrus. This was a piece of papyrus that he got from Kemet. And this is what it says. Now, going all the way back to Kemet, this is in some type of, I don't even think it would be a set typhon in practice. Don't necessarily have to be a set typhon in practice. It could be an Osirian practice, because at this point he's explaining the formula. He didn't say whether you could use it for good or bad. Now, it says, she was looking down at what appeared an Egyptian mummy on a ritual bar, which probably means some type of bed or some type of thing that they put them on when they're doing this ritual. But the woman was still alive, and her body was being used for some type of battery. She had been a tremendous build-up of libido. So they're talking about the libido, they're talking about a sexual arousal. You see, that sexual energy that we're releasing, if you use it to shoot it up, you got some real beautiful stuff. There's some stuff even greater than sex that we can do. You talk about coming. Excuse the expression. We talk about not coming this way, we talking about coming this way. That's right. Woo! I like that. It says she had a tremendous buildup of libido by means of including an urgent with light wood, which worked like a witch ornament of Europe. They're talking about some witch thing that they're talking about that they did in Greece. It says massage of a particular kind, a peculiar kind. A cumulative effort bandage, they're talking about this mummy thing. Force was masked as a corpse would be over a genitals. I'm trying to give you, because this is coming from a papyrus, now that's why it sounds the way it is. Was a gold-plated plaque that was inserted into her genitals. You understand? It was a gold plaque that they did, and it's some type of battery that they get with a cartouche of Segment on it. Segment is a god. Now, Segment is a god, a lioness god, comes out of Kemet. And they got this gold plaque and this cartouche, and they're inserting it up the woman. And she's mummified, but she's still alive. And they're using her body as some type of battery, so they can pull down the forces from the universe. You understand what I'm saying? But these forces can come from a lower region, which is the lower chakra, or it can come from a higher region. We having a child of Horus, we having a child of Set. You understand? Anyway, they say that this segment is a god that was one of the cults of the shadow. When they mean the cults of the shadow, they mean shadow mean black cults, and they talk about the Egyptian god, basically what they say.
You know the same thing the UFOs when they abduct these white people who do.
Yeah, they do all kinds. Yeah, right. I'm gonna get into that in the conclusion. Right.
The same thing.
Yeah. Now look, the climax of repulsive ritual release an accumulated energy, which, in such a way, was available for projection at will by the priest. What they mean is, whatever happens when they're doing this ritual with this woman, because the woman being the superior of humans, doggone that bull jive.
That's what voodoo teaches.
Right, voodoo.
That's called, that's what the female genitals is called the ultimate truth.
The ultimate truth, the woman is that the ultimate apex of the microcosm. She is your superior. Let's get it right.
Well,
She is your superior. Ain't nobody got nothing going on like mama does. Let's forget the dumb jump. Anyway, this, and the priests, they use this woman in that climax or whatever, this power, they can use in sex to either go to these other realms and pull down what they want off these realms. See, the Egyptian gods were nothing but scientific terms of entities that are scientific matters of astral realm, space. And they can, and you get your stuff from space by pulling it down and coming out that body of that woman, because the woman is the only thing that can produce a female organ or whatever. Now, so this is coming from the Chester Beatty Papyrus. So they are telling you in these things that they understand this sexual metaphysics, and we laughing at everybody who even claim to even go into this about the white man was created. You understand? So we're laughing at everybody who's even explaining these things. But the white boys are telling you. Now, let's go on. Next page. Now, it says it has this animal cunningness to all the way to the end of its career, right? Okay, check it out. What's the animal cunningness? Let me show you what animal cunningness is. Show you, I gotta show you what the white boys are telling you in science. This is beautiful. Beautiful. Look at this. Yeah, here we go. His hair is in the animal stage. You take all their hair, you take all animals, their hair resembles the European's hair. Right? There's something that's dealing with space and dealing with the universal origin of things, or the universal makeup of things, that's really why his hair is the way it is, because you have different entities on the astral plane. Number one, where's my chalk?
They also call the European hair fur.
Fur? Yeah, well, well, it was, his hair is on the animal stage, and nobody got this good stuff. Now, the makeup of the universe, it's a helical structure. The makeup of the universe is the structure of DNA. Helical structure. It's the makeup of the universe. It's also, there's only two things on the earthly realm that have this, are the people that's directly saying that they are the universe. And that's us. This is the black people's hair. It's the same makeup of the universe. This is the spiral of the universe. In a book, Secrets of Illuminati by Elizabeth Van Buren. Okay? I told you, I get so spiritual, I start talking, I start stirring. Now look, this is the makeup of the universe, right? And it's also the makeup of the DNA. And up here is listed all the planets and all the stars. But when you put this, and this is one small part of the makeup of the universe. If you take this and put it into the whole universe, this is one part. Let's say, this is the universe. If you take a microscope and you shoot it down, it would look like this out of this. This is black people's hair when you look at it in a fro light. You understand? If you take that fro and pick one hair out, it's a spiral, it would look like this. You understand? This is the fro, which is black people's hair that's nappy. And this is when you pop it and look, it's a spiral coil. And it's the makeup of the universe, which is the makeup of DNA in the black woman's body. Which you can, well, the DNA which you can trace through the lineage of the black woman when they trace all the way back to that original black woman.
The mitochondrial DNA.
A mitochondrial DNA, okay? You put heat to this DNA structure in a lab and it straightens out what our stuff does. But the white man's hair does not coil like this. It's a straight hair. It might coil after it get a certain lineage of locks. You know, you see the little, what's called, but still, his hair is not the same hair. You understand? This is the melanated hair, and it's the same stuff that's in the universe. You got that? His hair is still in the animal stage. What is interesting about this, there's only one other animal in the animal kingdom that's close to that, and that's called the lamb, or the sheep. What was Jesus called? The lamb.
That's right.
Right? Hair like wool and feet burnt in the brass, like brass in an oven. You get it? Lamb. Jesus was a black man. He would have to be a black man, as well as Krishna, and all the other blue-black gods. That's why Godfrey Higgins said one thing that got him when he wrote the book Anacalypsis, 2 volumes. He said, I trace it back, and one thing, now he's a sir. You don't get to be sir in England unless you're a real deal dude, or whatever you want to call it. Well, the real deal, Jimmy. Real deal Jimmy. He said, he traced these things back. He said, every time I trace back to God, it turns up black. You understand? He was very upset about this. It turns up black. I don't see nothing white. It would have to be, because in order to be that which is connected to God, you would have to be an original people. You understand? That's right. You are God. That's when the nation said the black man and black woman is God. They were right. Now, so we understand his hair is still in the animal stage.
And Jesus was the black sheep of the family.
That's right. And also, the lamb, they had an ordinance in the mid-1900s, and the late 1900s and the 1800s, that no man should be seen with a sheep after dark. Because this is where the DD came from, a venereal disease. Because a sheep is the one that's a docile animal, like the black man. Just, you know, he's just a warm-natured person. And also, the sheep is the only one that has a vagina that looks like a human. It's almost similar to a human. You understand? Some of these icons and these symbologies that's in the ancient structures, not there just for they didn't do it that way. This stuff is there for a reason. So the white man stuff is still in the animal stage. All right. Now, getting back to what's going on here. It says that this animal cunning is even quite towards the end of its career to communicate by borrowing temporary intelligence from the medium, which means he borrows your intelligence. And you think he you, and that's why you confused. It's the white boy talking about. Let's go on. From its very nature, it is exceedingly liable to be swayed by all kinds of evil influences, because it is. And being separated from the higher ego, it is nothing in its constitution. Now listen to this now. You got to listen to this, because this is telling you right now that hang it up. White people are through when it comes to you, the people that's conscious. It says it has nothing in its constitution capable of responding to the good ones. That's you. They're saying, what? Let's hang it up. Ain't nothing in its makeup and in its nature capable to responding to you. It's always on a manipulative level when it responds to you, or a master-slave level, or a destructive level. If it's going to respond, it's going to be an antagonistic response, or it's going to be one of them slickster things, where you always end up getting the low end of the stick.
Inhumane.
Inhumane. You understand that? To the good ones. The white boy telling you. It therefore lends itself readily to various minor purposes of still some of the bizarre sort of black musicians. He's saying something. What he's saying is when they're doing this code word, they're saying that the people who created us basically when they put this type of stuff. It says minor purposes and all. The mental matter possesses, gradually distinguishes, and returns to the general matter of its own plane. What that's saying is that the white man knows his time is up, and when this great stuff comes along, it's going to separate him and return him back to his own plane. But you are keeping him alive by your own ignorance and your own fear. Now I'm getting ready to get into the solutions, and it's real simple what we need to do.
The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
The Wizard of Oz.
That's right. You had the power to go home all the time. I said, look. Now, in the astral plane, since it's a shade and it's got an animal cunningness, in the astral plane, it's built up of all types of entities. In here you have the human order, the human entities in here. That's us. That's the inhabitants on the human entities. You have the non-human entities. Non-human is a cross between a human and a non-human can also mean animals. It can mean animals. Because that's why we got to get off this meat. Because the animals that we eat when we kill are on the astral plane. So it gives you bad karma, and it also gives you, when you're eating this meat, basically, and we know you eat meat and all, but I'm just saying it's a future thing. Sooner or later you're going to have to get up off it. Don't go in the shop tonight because you need some chicken. You're trying to go cold turkey. We know black people going to shoot. We don't want the news to be filled up with people killing each other. Black people trying to get off chicken. But they're saying that there's all kinds of animals. You get off beef and you might get off pork. I ain't messing no pork. That chicken, that's another story. But anyway, there's animals on it. So you have animals on the astral plane, right? You have animals. You have humans. You have non-humans, which consist of animals. And then you have artificial. Artificial might be artificial thought forms. Because you have human thought forms and you have artificial entities. And then you have artificial humans. Now if I'm lying, whole chapter here only, artificial humans, to let you know, right in the book, Astro Body, artificial humans. Now, it's crazy for us to sit up here and accept Diop's theory of a white man mutating in the Ice Age, when the white boy is right here telling you that as above, so below, and if you got artificial humans here, you got them down here. And the artificial humans are the white people. We know this because it says it's a soulless bundle of animal cunningness. Artificial humans. Now, but we know that this thing is it's a cross between a non-human and an artificial human because it's an animal level. And there's a footnote in one of these books to tell you in the book, I can't think of what it is, when you're reading the non-humans. In the article of the non-humans, they're going to tell you to go to Blavatsky's book, The Secret Doctrines. Got to get both volumes of The Secret Doctrines. That's 17 books for 2 books. You can't beat them. 2 big, massive books. They got one more left up at the shrine. We're going to have them in here next week. Boom, they're going to run out of money with all these books they got.
What about ISIS Unveiled?
There's 3, I'm going to get that too. There's another book called The Isis Unveiled, which is dealing with religion and science. The Secret Doctrine is dealing with the cosmos and also theology. So listen, and they tell you a footnote. They say now on this non-human, they say go to the Isis Unveiled, find out what's on this non-human entity. And when they trace it down, they say it's an ape form. See, Darwin was right.
They did come from that.
They are not an ape. They are highly evolved ape. They're one step above an ape.
Glory.
You see, if you pull back your skin, the skin is white. It's got the thin lips, right?
Yeah.
It's got the thin lips, right? Okay.
And no ass.
And no ass. Right? But also with the work coming out of London, England, which you can't get, that's why I get this tape. They said that it's a highly above the ape form, but what it is, and that's why you see all the long hair and all this stuff. It's a highly evolved ape. It's not a human. It's an ape man, a monkey man.
Mm-hmm.
They call him the moon man, moon child. It's an ape, but they say that ape has a calcified pineal gland just like the white man. But since it was brought down, it's a cross between an ape and about that much of a human in it. It's a human artificial. So it's a non-human, but it's a human artificial. It's a beast, but it's a human artificial because it's an ape man, because it can talk. So that makes it a human artificial, and it borrows intelligence from you. You understand? But it is a ape because it has a calcified pineal gland. Deep stuff.
See, Baldwin said they gave us the art of speech itself.
It's speech itself. They couldn't speak, and they act just like an ape when they were in their natural habitat. You understand?
So how about Elijah Muhammad's talking about them trying to graft themselves back into the original man, and they graft themselves back into the ape?
Well, in actuality, that doesn't bear witness. See, that's one thing I say about this man that y'all got to look at. Y'all better quit that bulljive, because the white man tell you this. If a man come with a third grade education and start dropping that kind of knowledge up to this day, that he's been right on it, told you not to eat pork, now you saying we don't need to eat no pork. Told you that the white man is the devil, now this is all bearing witness. You understand what I'm saying? You know, even in the fall of America, he predicted that the people will raise up Malcolm X to try to keep the people off the real messengers of our lives. Bingo. You see what I'm saying? How this stuff goes? Because Spike Lee could not have made that movie if the white boys didn't allow it.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So when they say regraft themselves back into ape, they ended up regrafting themselves back into the original form of what they originally are. You see in the story. But they are ape. Coming out of the white boys is talking about this. They call it the fourth ape. They say the fourth ape, or ape that can talk. Tahuti. Mind. Knowledge. Fourth ape. Or ape that can talk. Planet of the Apes. They talk about all of it in the mythology. Now, white girl by the name of Dion Fortune. Book you gotta get to know how to deal with the beast in the spiritual realm. We need to get at least 15 of these books in here, so we can get them. The first week, book called Dion Fortune's Psychic Self-Defense. And it's talking about everything that's on these cosmic planes and on this matter plane, which is the earthly plane. You got to understand how to deal with it spiritually. See, what happened with this white woman is she was in the Theosophical Society, which led better, Maine Blavatsky, who gives you Isis and Veil and also secret doctrines. She was in that society. Then she went into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That was the first society that Aleister Crowley was into before he started his other stuff that he got into. When he received the Book of Law. Anyway, she had some kind of encounter with some white man. And he must have raped her. He did something. But what he did, it messed up her karma and her aura. It messed it up. Because there's a psychic thing. So when you come in contact with certain people, they can zap your energy and they can mess up. They can put them hanks and them damn spooks on you, and you don't know it. You see, we dealt with a sister was on the psychic hotline with Dionne Warwick, and she messed around and over the phone, beautiful sister, talented. She got her stuff. She read me over the phone to the teeth. She told me, she said, a couple of years ago you was eating beef. And she said, you know, when you was eating that beef, your immune system was as low as a person who had AIDS. Check. You see? It's in the beef. Stop. That's why they tell you now they got that new commercial. Hey, them hamburgers is about $65. You better go to the cheap place. We got rallies. We got checkers. Drive through. They're trying to keep you on the beef. They're trying to keep you on the beef. Yeah, now listen. I want to go and check this out. My brother here, he works for, he's the man that writes them checks out when you get them wrecks. He's going to determine how much money you get. My two brothers here, he done got him hired, and then so, that nepotism. We got to start hooking up families and stuff, right? We got to start hooking up families and all that. Let the black man on in the door for the time being while we're on them cracker jobs. Anyway, he said that he told me the other night, he said he went to this meeting that they brought in this doctor in the company, and the doctor said, well, I know some stuff on AIDS, so he said he went to the meeting that night, and the doctor said that they got a little boy in there. He said the little boy was about 5 years old?
He was about, he was 16.
Yeah, he said the cat ain't had no sex. He was a virgin. He was a retarded. Well, check this out. He was a virgin. He had no sex. Wasn't no intravenous drug user. Somebody need to be manning this thing so when I get out of the way, you can still see me.
They got
Oh, you looking at it? Okay, I want to know because I don't want you just be talking and you seeing some books back here. So it says he wasn't no intravenous drug user. He never had sex because he was retarded, and also he was retarded, and also they said that he never had a blood transfusion. Now they said they got about 10 cases in America. People got AIDS and they don't know what the hell going on. Now we know it's a created disease. Now check this out. But he had AIDS. They say they come to find he got that stuff from that meat, didn't he? The beef and the chicken and all that bullshit. Now they say the chicken. Now they treated him with vitamins. That's all you need is some real good vitamins. And the knock that he came up HIV negative. Now check this out. He said, told me the other night. He said I had that chicken. Let you know about Kentucky's chicken. He said they give them chicken steroids. You know that. So they come in a video 1 week and the next week they on the shelf.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
They give them the steroids. He said, but they be catching the cancer from the steroids. He said, so what they do, they cut that cancer off, grind it up, put it in the feed. Then that night, because you know chickens eat their own droppings, they shovel that shit up, use the expression, they drop it up, grind it up, put it in the feed, grind it up, feed them back to it. So you eating a bundle of steroids, cancer, and dookie.
Read AIDS.
Animals in their digestive system. They got one right over here about that. Michael Joseph, right? Animals in the digestive system. So now they're giving us this stuff through the meat and all this stuff. Now back on this woman. That's why you got to understand psychological warfare.
That's right.
Now what happened with this woman was she got some contact with her boss. He either raped or he did something. And you know them white women, once they get raped or something get done in. 2 white women, them lesbians wrote the book, The Great Cosmic Mother. Telling on the beast. You know, they'll write the stuff on the beast. If they get mad, they say, okay. All right. I'm going to do all y'all crackers. All right? So she writes the book, Psychic Self-Defense. And she says that after her encounter with the boss, she decided to write the various methods of psychic self-defense. Various methods on how to safeguard yourself against personal male violence. Psychic self-defense. Now listen. Let's see what the male violence. Now when she said personal male violence, let's see. When the male violence popped up, guess who she said are the male violent ones?
Right.
The pathology of non-human contacts. Non-human. Other forms as well as ours. You put that ours because she writing for the occult. So they got some real stupid stuff. She knows she the non-human. She ain't no damn fool. She know who the original people is, but she gonna write the book anyway.
Well, it's soliloquy.
Right. So she knows she gonna write the book anyway, you see? So she says, other forms as well as ours. Folklore and fairy kingdom. Non-human. They say folklore. I mean, this stuff has been explained throughout years of who the non-humans was in your Bible. They call it the devil or call it whatever. They tell you who the non-humans were. You thinking it's some spookology. That's why Elijah Muhammad and them tell you they don't look. There ain't no spook nothing. It's the black man and black woman, or the black woman and black man is God, and the white man and the white woman and various kinds of them white Arabs, or what you want to call it, and them European Jews ain't nothing but the devil. In this world, you got man and you got devil, you got human and you got non-human. So the non-human, the esoteric data relating to the conception. See, they saying we got esoteric data. You know, all these museums know who the non-humans are. And writing for herself, she's crazy. But then again, they crazy anyway. They, you know, she gonna write. She get mad. So I'm gonna write on all y'all white people. Because I'm getting ready to die anyway. Because she died at an early age. I'm gonna write on all y'all. Look. Non-human souls in human bodies. No souls. You see, you're messing with a soulless bundle of animal cunningness. You like it because like you like your cat, like you like your dog. Look at that dog. You're fascinated by it. You see, Africans, they could have killed them on something else, fascinated by that white skin. Look at that hair. You see? You see? That explains some of the Indian things where they supposed to have this white god supposed to come, and when the white man came, they thought it was God, and they put him on the stool, and he ended up taking up the land. Because it was a soulless bundle of animal cunningness. Problems they represent. They are the deleterious effort of non-humans. Let's see. Okay, listen. I want to show you something. she says that what they're dealing with here is you deal on 4 currents of cosmic electricity. They only deal on 1 current of cosmic electricity. And when you come around them, just the mere presence of them, they zap your current, and you start dealing on 1 current. So that's why your health, your mental, everything goes down, because you are constantly in contact with the European.
Right.
You see?
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing, to put in that as far as the cosmic of energy, to increase that energy, that's why we wore certain ornaments made out of brass.
Right.
And copper, because copper is what they wind around electric motors to generate power.
Right.
So when we wore copper bracelets and all, and every time you walk, you break the flux, and it creates electric energy. That's why we say we usually get rid of arthritis, and they use electric shock treatment to treat arthritis.
Well, since they don't have the lineup of the pineal gland, which illuminates these higher chakras, they're dealing with 1 current, and you're dealing with 4. So it zaps your other 3 down to 1. And so therefore you have problems determining the beast, because you are operating on a low current. And basically because you cannibals now, because you eating all the meat and all the stuff, the same practices that he used to do in the caves. That's right. But you're dealing, so just the mere contact. This is why you have psychotrauma and all kind of bullshit on them corporate jobs. It's just more than the white man don't love you, because you knew that when you got hired, but all kind of stuff go on. We are in it. This is hell in every sense of the word. That's right. This is hell, right? In the condition, it will come hell when you get rid of the non-humans. You see, the non-humans. Says that the non-humans, it say, number one, if you married to one, it say the only thing that you have out of that is purely physical. And because our marriage, the way we view marriage now, is the concept, Western concept is wrong anyway. You fit right into it. So the white woman treats you like something, or the white man treats you like something, or you in there, you can't tell. You just say, oh, it's just human behavior. But the marriage, they say, the first thing you should do to prevent this is to get rid of or divorce the non-human. What she's saying in here, if you are human. Because you can't rise to another higher element as long as you're sleeping with a non-human. Right. Okay? But said that the currents, they said it also, they said the non-human, by it not being human, she says that you should treat it just like you treat a cat or a dog. They say you can come in contact, but your contact with a cat and a dog is different than you contact with humans. So you should treat it just like you treat a cat or a dog or a pet. Because that's all it is, a pet. It's done turned that around on you and start telling you pets. Black man ain't nothing but a 3/5 of a human being. That's his own psyche projecting back. You see, the white woman is telling right here in the book, Psychic Self-Defense. She called them vampires in here, werewolves in here. All them spooks you see in the movies ain't nothing but the innermost powers of the beast of the white man. It ain't nothing but his nature. That they are describing in these doggone movies. What you see?
I saw one of those talk shows and everybody on there said it was a vampire.
Vampires. They're vampires. They're all in this stuff. So she's giving the book Psychic Self-Defense.
That's why he said a dog is a man's best friend.
Right.
But Walt said a K9 can't be mine.
That's right. The white man's best friend.
That's right. Because he know he on the same plane as they are. Psychic Self-Defense, Dion Fortune.
That's why he calls his deity God. They call it D-O-G, dog backwards.
Dog backwards. That's a German deity, and it means dog backwards.
Dog backwards.
Bingo. Man, we
call our deities
see, we can't. See, a lot of our people think we're going to get out of this living side by side with the beast. No, the beast is a temporary thing, and it's got to be zapped back into its own plane, and it's got to be done away with. Wow. Now, let's get into the solution. Let's get into some solutions.
That's a serious church, not a church.
Word up. Serious church. This is real church. 2000, this is real church. Now, let's get into some solutions.
I'm telling you.
Okay. Number one, the solutions are, remember, Dorothy was trying to get home, and after a while, when she met this good witch, she said, you had the power to go home all the time. Right? Well, you got the power to go home all the time. Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the white man know it. You just don't know it, but the white man know it. Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew it, that the black man was God and the white man was the devil. So in order to get rid of the devil, you got to become God. Right? And in order to become God, you got to start lining up these 7 chakras of the body. Right? And when you line these 7 chakras up the body and open up that pineal gland, you will be protected from all of this. You won't have to eat as much. You won't have to sleep as much because you're going to have to be a foot soldier. We're going to have to fight it physically, but I'm going to tell you how.
Right.
You have to line up all this stuff. You're going to have to become God. Right? This is the whole transformation of the Bible is nothing but a story of becoming God. That's all Jesus did. Christ, K-I-S-T, was the anointed one. He got the title of Christ, which means that he opened up his kundalini and became God. Now, one time, there was a time when black people, kundalini was all the way open. All black people. But somehow in this fall, and the fall was not necessarily the set thing, but the fall, and we won't want to use the word fall, the earth shifted into a low vibratory rate. That's what they was talking about Kabbalion. They was talking about this, in the Kabbalion, they said that we were vibrating on a low level. The earth shifted and the pineal glands closed up. You were still God, but you needed the priesthood in Kemet, and you needed your secret societies and your rites of passages to open it up at a certain time. You just had another culture, but you were still God, right? Okay, now, the vibratory rate to become God, we're just telling you this right now. We got to start working on stuff, hit them chakra books, start eating the right food, and line up those chakras and open up that pineal gland. Meditation. Through meditation. You see. Through meditation. Now, why? I'll tell you why. Let's look. There's a passage in an Egyptian papyrus, which was a Greek papyrus that was coming during the time of Gnosticism. And in this time of Gnosticism, we understand that Jesus traveled to Kemet and was initiated into a Gnostic cult. Now, Gnosticism is nothing but the later day form of the ancient Egyptian religion culminated into what you would call the origins of what we would have Christianity called Christendom. Christendom in the Alexandrian age is Gnosticism. Right. The Gnostics. You understand? Jesus, coming from Palestine or wherever, or Ethiopia, which story you want to believe, came and studied in the mystery schools of Kemet. But at this time, it wasn't the same as the schools of Amun-Ra. The Egyptian priests knew one thing. They knew that their time was leaving. So what they did was, we don't understand this. We stupid. We sit up here arguing over the religions, and we don't understand it's all oneness. And there's a story about that Muhammad thing I'm getting ready to get into, too. They knew that they were on their way out. They said, but we're going to have to house this thing in a religion that the beast can understand it. So when our people go through all this little passage and all of this stuff, they can catch it on the other end. And it would be a religion at the first time, it would save them from going crazy right out of slavery. But it would be like that snake venom. What saved you at first on that snake venom, if you keep taking that snake venom, it'll become your poison. Later day, that vessel would have to be going into what you would call getting the esoteric science. That's what we're into now. The other religion don't work for us no more. Just the hooping and the hollering and the dancing and the singing. You understand what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It works on us now. So, but they understood that they would have to, they said they understood this fall, and they said we're going to have to house it in something because the other religion is too, or the other mystery system, because it wasn't a religion, the other way of life was too detailed for the Europeans and these other nomadic people that would be coming in and being the custodians, the new custodians of this stuff. We go pick it up on the other end thousands of years later, which we did right in slavery. That's a key point. We can't knock the church when it's early road because it kept us from going crazy at first because they wanted us to self-destruct. So remember now, the people who came in could not read Melanesia. So that means whatever was given to them, it had to have been given to them by the Egyptian priests. You ever thought about that? They gave it up. They knew it was going to happen. They said, we're going to give it to them and we're going to house the same stuff. And the keys are already there through all this stuff. Now, Belial and the angel that Muhammad said he saw was Zayd, what's the name?
Zayd bin Harit.
Zayd bin Harit.
Zayd bin Harit.
Gave him Ethiopian original religion.
That's right.
So yes, when Honorable Elijah said it's a religion of the original man, yeah. You understand? And we understand that the Arabic language is not, remember they couldn't talk at first.
It didn't come from the Aryan.
It didn't come from the Aryan. It came from, it's a derivative of ancient Kemet. You understand? They couldn't talk, so it's still a religious religion. So we argued over nothing. You see, if we understand this stuff is universal. The Muslims right, the Christians right. You understand? Well, let's put it this way. The Muslims under the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad is mystery system. The Muslims that you say some of the Orthodox is just as bad as the doggone Baptist church. You see what I'm saying? So they understood this. Now, in the Gnostic cult, Jesus comes in, and when he becomes the Christ, which means an anointed one, and he gets his little bit of followers, there's a papyrus coming out of the Gnostic cult. And I want you to hear this. Look, the Gnostics, as well in the formulas of the written magic papyrus, Greek and Coptic, under the impact of these heaven worlds, are suddenly open. The pineal gland, the 7 chakras, is open. When it becomes open, and the crown chakra and the pineal gland is open, you are into the heavenly realms. You understand? You get it?
That's why it's called the kingdom.
The kingdom. Heaven owners. As it is owners.
When you're there, the white boy can't go there.
He can't go there because it's a higher plane. He's only on the low planes, but the heavenly realm is the Devashanic plane. See, Judge Ledbetter, second manual to the astral plane. Let me get this one here.
Go ahead.
We're going to get that here too, right?
Yeah, we're going to get this here. What we're doing is we setting them in the business big time. That's right. Setting them up in business. That's what we're supposed to do. This is the astral, the Devashanic plane, the heaven world. The middle plane. You can get you. The white boy can't get here.
Can't touch it.
Can't touch it. Because his faculties are not built for it. It only goes right here. Remember, that's got a big old rock in it, all bones. So it can't go in there. You understand? The heaven plane. It's all right in us. It's been there the whole time. Look. Says, on this plane, look, the opening of the heavens. Let me get back to my place. Are suddenly open. The heavens are suddenly open. Jesus and his followers are transported into intermediate space. And in front of them, setting amid the winds, they behold the ships of the sun and the moon, manned by fantastic beings. The ships, the mothership, UFOs, the ships is right here in the damn papyrus. Where did the Christian religion came from? It came from Christendom. That comes from Gnosticism. This is a Gnostic treatise or a Gnostic papyrus. In the ships, you can get this right here. This cat is an expert in Greek papyrus and Hebrew papyrus and Egyptian papyrus. He used to work in the British, he used to work in the Louvre in Paris in the Department of Egyptology. He writes the book, The Gnostics, the secret books of the Egyptian Gnostics. They went to Egypt in the 1940s and pulled up all the so-called teachings of Jesus Christ in the Gnostic cults, and it's right here in the doggone book. Jesus learned this. They went into Egypt and pulled it up, and this is the book, Jean de Rest.
That's what they're sitting on in the Vatican.
Page 74 in the book. The Egyptian Gnostics. Look. It said the ship is manned by fantastic beings. In these ships, they can even distinguish the dragons that functions to its rest from the archons that stole their light. Now what I'm thinking on this is, basically what I get out of this is, when these ships and all, they can distinguish the beast from the devil. And they can even distinguish some of these black devils who done messed up. These sellout Negroes and all. Now where did they get it from? They got it right out of Kemet in the papyrus of how to invoke the ship of Amun-Ra. All in the pineal gland. Now let's get down. Get my solution paper going on here. Here it is, ready. Now, I talk about the Dogon, right? And I told you that all the whole thing about the mothership and all this is in the African mythology and all. And I told you that they said our people were on a planet called Sirius. When Sirius is the sun behind our sun, it's the heavenly realm. And their ancestors are there. But they have a planet right around it, and supposedly human inhabitants are on this planet. Which is called, when you go in the mysteries of Isis, see Isis, now I don't think I brought the book, I might have brought the book, I hope I did. But what happened was Isis, there's a guy that traveled to Greece, and I think he must have been an original man, but was in Greece, and based on the system of Greece, well, I just wing it, I just tell you the name of the book. He was about to become a homosexual and all this other stuff. But what happened was, he went into Kemet and he went into the mysteries of Isis. The mysteries of Isis is nothing but the astral plane. You want to understand the astral plane? Remember in Revolution 101 I gave out those big old, those binds of Isis, that Isis tablet? That Isis tablet is nothing but the astral plane. And to decode that is to decode the astral plane, because in that Isis tablet, there's 2 volumes of it. You can get one in the Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, and you can get one called the Bimbine of Isis, the Isis tablet. Now in this, if you look at the contents, they simply tell you what the Isis tablet is. And I say we need to decode it, but since if you study the astral plane books and study this will come easy. And it says in this, they said you have two regions. This is the tablet, and they have these regions in it, and they have this whole, and it came out of a temple in Rome of some people who worship Isis in Rome, where they got it from. And in the tablet it explains the middle region, the superior region, which is the heaven region, the inferior region, which is what we own now. This is the inferior region. And the middle region is the astral planes, which is this lower region, which you got to be judged, and either if you're the beast, you reincarnate back into a beast, and if you're the black man, you go on to a higher level. Reincarnation is real. That's the whole deal. But that upper region, the superior region, is the heaven planes. Now, I told you about Sirius, and the superior region is connected with the Sophic cycle and also Sirius. Now, which is connected with the Dogon, and what they are saying. Well, so happens a white boy got abducted by some, he say aliens, but we say original people from Sirius in 1954. Some information is on that. And what he says in the information is this. Number one, there's an interplanetary brotherhood or sisterhood. And Earth is the only one that don't belong to the interplanetary brotherhood or sisterhood, because what happened with Earth is this. Number one, you have different life forms on some of these planets. So you do have some of these aliens they seen from the other planets. But they said, but the black man and black woman, or the black woman and the black man, are the most superior out of all of these other systems. You get theology of time, right there, the man saying the same thing. Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells you in theology of time that we have people on other planets, black man and black woman being the most superior. But the black man and black woman are the only ones that have this white man on Earth. See, the Earth is the only one that got this white creature. Why? Because the most superior beings long time ago, who was gods, created them in an experiment. Now the Rosicrucian brother, the Rosicrucian white guy told a good friend of mine, this in the nation, his name is Dave Pitts, lives in Detroit now, told him at the University of Michigan, said, yeah, the white man was an experiment that went bad. And them UFOs is coming to clean it up. This is the right Rosicrucian told him. Well, they know because the Rosicrucian is a German organization, and the spin-off from that is the Theosophical Society, which is, you have the regular Mason York right now, then you have the graduate schools of the Masons. That's the Rosicrucian, the Theosophical Society, the Golden Dawn, the OTO, or the AA, these societies, the Illuminati, which is all connected with the Illuminati. He told them that these people was an experiment. So the guy who had the contact with the beings from Syria said that the only ones who are not in the interplanetary brotherhood is Earth, because they got the white boys on here. Now, it says that they got other planets that's millions of years ahead of Earth, but the millions of years behind Earth. It's got some other problems in another whole brotherhood system. And they got to go and they got to pull them up, but they can't go at all until they pull up one planet by one. And they got to pull Earth up first. You see? They can't do nothing until they pull Earth up, so they can go on and get the job. Some people say, well, hell, we've been in this predicament a long time, but see, you got to realize in space there ain't no such thing as time. We're talking middle planes here. There's no such thing as time. Time is only, well, there's no such thing to the African as time. Everything is circular. Reciprocity. What you throw out, you get back in the manner that you threw it out. The white man is only linear, because he knows that his time is short. That's why he's linear.
The chronos comes
right.
Time.
That's why he got to do everything on time. They say, well, what's the African time? When he gets there. So that CP time is really a real time. Somebody say, well, that's CP time. Oh, we got to see, we got to cut out that. But I said, no, we Africans. They say, well, what was the African time? They said, when we got there. Because we lived in that kind of atmosphere. When you get here, the party will start. What do they say in Stolen Legacy? When the student is ready, the master will appear. Right? Well, the master will appear. So they say they got to pull this thing up. But in this interplanetary brotherhood, they say one thing.
Who's driving the bull? Like a dark blue?
Yeah. What's that? They got to get out?
Okay, yeah, he's blocked.
Sorry, go ahead. They say in this interplanetary brotherhood, one thing about them that they do know, all of them have open and highly functional pineal glands. So you know who they're talking about. They're talking about people like us, and if they ain't like us, they're on the same accord as us, because they got the same stuff. That melon, which is the key carbon concept of the universe. That's what the Eye of Horus is for. And also the Eye of Horus is also represented as Set, the sun behind the sun, our sun's sun, which is the highest point of the Diva-Shantic plains. You understand? So, they say that they have a highly calcified, a highly open and aroused pineal gland, which means that white people ain't in that. Right? Okay. Now, the point is, we got a tragedy going on here. The tragedy is, if we don't get this open, we're going to perish. The other thing is, the people that can most likely get it open is the Afrocentric or the people that's into black liberation. I don't want to use the word Afrocentric because I'm talking about black liberation, because you can get an Afrocentric person that's up there just as white as hell. He knows his history, but he's white. We talk about people that's ready to take the beast off the planet. Nothing short of that. No compromise. If he wasn't here before, that means you don't have to live to it. Some people say, oh, yeah, there's no such thing as us not living with white people. Well, that's crazy. We lived on the earth for damn 150,000 years without them. That means if you lived that long without them and you was great before you had them, and the only time you see yourself on a lowly level is when you got them, that means you don't need them. That's just what I'm saying. Right? All right. So, the problem we have here is the conscious community, whether we like it or not, is still a small community. I don't give a doggone if you got 100,000. You got 40 million niggas that ain't got nothing on their minds. And I say niggas, and I use that word, because the white man created a nigga, and he did a good job. See, I don't get mad at the white man for being his people. Only reason why I get mad at the white man, if I get mad at the white man, that means that the white man is more than what he is. You can't get mad at a dog for being a dog. You understand what I'm saying? That's his nature. So the point is this. Well, we got a problem. Well, the problem is, if we need these pineal glands open, and the kundalini, and the only people capable of doing this, because we're not talking about a person, because some white people open up what little they have, and then we got some black people. I met a good brother from Africa that opened it up, but he don't know what no knowledge or nothing, so he can't use it for nothing. So we're still talking about the people who know thyself. The first law of man, know thyself. So we're talking about the people that know thyself and know that they got a job to do. That's a small group of people. Right?
Yep.
Well, let's look at this. Well, follow me here. Y'all follow me here. Because whether we like it or not, we getting out of this mess. Why? Because number one, we don't have nothing else to do here but either die to the hands of the beast or liberate ourselves. We don't have 10 years. We don't have 20 years. We don't have 5. Right? Okay. Y'all gonna like this because, you know, in liberation, the people who didn't know and was doing some stuff was saying we might not see liberation in our lifetime. Bullshit. The time is now. The time is now. Okay, let's look at some stuff. Let's look at some stuff right now. All right, let's see what time. Let's see what time we on. What time is it? What time is it? Okay, look. All right. Some precise time dates. Some precise time dates. All right. April 1994, when Sophist, Sirius, and Horus, who is Isis, Sirius is Isis, used to be said, but when he fell, Sirius went to the Isis. Sophist, Sirius, Isis, and Horus, which is her son, celebrate, you see, Sophist and Isis, which is Sabdu, celebrate their 50-year heroes, Gamos, a holy union. Such close timing between the solar system, Sun, Earth, Pluto, and Neptune, and the Sirius Sophic star system, that's the star system that's closest to us, occurs for only some 90,000 years, giving some linking to a stunning rarity of evolutionary opportunity to humanity due to the last 2 decades of the 20th century. April 1994. So we're talking some serious stuff. Now what's going on here? I'll tell you. If you was talking to C. Freeman L., he was talking about vibrations. And in vibrations, what you have is this. In vibrations, you have vibratory rates that's higher and lower. We are operating on a lower vibratory rate. That's why you see that's why, and when you go on a higher vibratory rate, these particles can separate and you can go where the hell you want to go. Go into another dimension, which is the 7th dimension. No, it's the 4th dimension that's coming up. The 4th dimension. We're on a low vibratory rate. So what's happening with all these cycles and this cosmic cycles and all this stuff is the new age that this white people talking about, they know that this vibratory rate is getting ready to change. And that's that beam me up Scotty thing on Star Trek. You separate the molecules and beam them up. Right? Right in the Kabbalion, if they got any more, they'll be having them in, which is a millennium, with thousands of year old science coming from the Greek, the Egyptian god Tamahu, which is the Hermetic Kabbalion. You can get the book for $7 right here, right now, well, whenever next week. They'll separate the molecules and we go into another dimension, right? Okay, now, in this dimension. I was talking about separating the molecules. Remember, in my tapes, I talk about the Dogon. They have what is a Siggy ceremony. The last time they had it was 1936. Now, you know that we are on the Gregorian calendar. There was the Julian calendar, the Sothic calendar. Those calendars are right, and the Gregorian calendar is 4 years behind. So the real 2000 is what? 1996, right? Okay, the Dogon, the last time they did the Siggy ceremony was 1936. 60 years from 36 is what? 1996, right? Okay, 1996. So what we're talking about here is an evolutionary change in the 2000s of the millennia being up, and the right time, the Dogon is right on it. They're going to do that Siggy ceremony in 1996, regardless, to our time. Number two, the Siggy ceremony is since the Dogon is nothing but people who migrated out of Kemet and set up shop there. The Siggy is represented as two Egyptian Hintis. Egyptian Hinti, a Siggy is every 60 years, and two Egyptian Hintis is every 120 years, which is the celebration of Osiris. This is the celebration of Nomo in the Dogon. And remember, the Dogon said we got an evil brother, Ogu, which is the pale fox, pale meaning white slide dog, and we got a brother that was sacrificed. See how these stories, the same Jesus stories go all over the place? 16 crucified saviors, 17 with Nomo, was sacrificed, but one day he will come back and he will subdue his evil brother Ogu, who is the pale fox. This is a picture of Nomo, though. Nomo is in the sign of a fish. What was Jesus in the sign of? A fish, Pisces. Same story. A black man, the lamb, the hare, coming to kick the white man in the ass. But they're talking about the Christ. They ain't talking about no one man, because if one man come, Quacker gonna take him out. They talking about us coming to the Christ figure, coming to our Christ hood, opening up the pineal gland. Understand? But the Dogon says that they do the Siggy ceremony, which is representing the birthday of Amma when she created the world, or he, which is Nomo and Ogu's mother, the good brother and the evil brother, are Set and Osiris. You understand? But in the Osirian thing, they say that Hinti brings you into the Amenti. And the Amenti is the great judgment. That's what this is. On that astral plane, you being judged by the black man. But he's symbolizing he's a black, Osiris is a black god. But he's a green god because he's a vegetation god. Right. And what does vegetation do? Everything eats off the vegetation. Right. So the vegetation is, he's also, the vegetation always suffers. Because all the animals eat vegetables. We used to do it too. All animals eat vegetables. So then he's a sufferer. What do black people do? We suffer. We're good at it. Good at dying. But he judges. So the great judgment is the Hinti, which is 1996. So 1994, he's the cutting process is going to start that. And these vibratory rates going to open up. Now, what it means when this vibratory rate goes? Well, in the man's in the white man that got abducted by Sirius, said it also by 19. He said in the Aquarian age, when this vibratory rate, he uses the word cosmic energy. Come on in, sister. Come on in, sister. Just come on in and listen. He uses the word cosmic energy. Cosmic energy means vibratory rate opening up, that vibration is going to another level. When that happens, he says, when that cosmic energy hit, all the pineal glands going to open up. Did you hear what I say? Now listen. No, not white people. They're going to open up that little bit. They'll be hearing all kind of voices. They call it the devil.
But it's dependent too on melanin.
It is on melanin. The whole thing is on melanin. Listen. Say that all these pineal glands that is lying dormant in us go open up. That means all black people, a lot of black people, even the ones that's doing some messed up stuff, that stuff gonna open up anyway. And when it open up, remember what I told you? That Jesus followers that transported, and when they open up the heavens, they saw the ships coming in. The ships coming in. Okay, let's go on further. The guy Gopi Krishna, who is an original man, but he probably one of them, the original man is lost because he probably up there high in the caste system in India. But he writing this book, says, in his book, in the chapter 6 of the book, it's called a Kundalini for the New Ages, writing for them white people. But hey, they don't want nothing to do with the New Age when they find out what's going on. When it actually gets here, they ain't on the list. It says there are devices, check it out. There are devices that will come into operation. Listen, there are devices that will come into operation at the time seemingly of annihilative nuclear war to save the race from extinction. Well, we know that nuclear war ain't gonna jump off, but this stuff gonna come in. These when this vibratory rate goes up, and Kundalini, it rattles it, and it's gonna shake it open. And once it shake it open, he through. Because the ships is coming back. You see, if you get the book, it was interesting. Anybody familiar with Jung? Jung is a great psychologist. Freud had all kind of pathology of his own, and he gonna try to tell everybody what it is. But this cat, Jung, who was greater, he was inspired by a lot of works from Tahuti, mainly the Divine Commander, the Virgin of the World, and those books, and those things that came out of Kemet by way of Greece, by way of Rome, and then the Europeans got it. And in his book, he wrote a book. Now, why is a psychologist, one of the greatest European psychologists, the greatest European, why is he writing a book in the 1950s on flying saucers? Flying saucers, myths of modern things seen in the sky. And he's saying that what these flying saucers are, they are architects on the collective consciousness. And these white people are seeing them all over, and they always see them when the time coming for a great transition. They said there was a lot of them seen over the air when the Christianity came in, when that Roman area, that Roman era. A lot of them seen then. He's saying, so in his studies, he's always seeing these things. And you notice these white people are the ones that are seeing all these things. Like I said, I went to a UFO conference on with 4 black people there. Me, which you didn't go. Kimberly. Yeah, Kimberly, we were the only ones there, and they said, how many of y'all saw a UFO? And all the white people in the place, about 100 of them raised their hand. We the only ones sitting there. I'm like, you see what I'm saying? But it's called an archetype, and you get this big book, Archetypes of the Collective Consciousness. But anyway, what's happening here is, on these Devashanic planes, the wheels are on these Devashanic planes. Remember, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in 1914 that the white man's time was up, but the black man was not ready. Right. So it extended his time. Right. But what's happening is, the reason why they ain't been back yet to kick him in his ass, because like I said, it's Wizard of Oz time. Right. You had the power to go home all the time. And you open this up, it's the direct relationship to that. Okay? Now, but you don't have to. Like Farrakhan said, you're going to be whipped into submission whether you like it or not. In his tape, The Wheels of the Last Days, his audio tape, you can get it right here. Right. The first part is pretty good. The second part is playing double. But in the tape, he said when he saw the vision of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, you don't know what it is to go to sleep and dream and start seeing colors. Colors are the auras, the astral plane. He was talking about the astral plane he had gone on. He said, I heard the voice of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he told me what to do. And these wheels, you see? These wheels. So what's happening here is, it's all in the Kundalini opening up. When the Kundalini opens up, the white man is finished. And when it opened up, 1954, the cat estimated 3 million craft coming back. Now you say this is 1990s. It's about probably 300 million now, compared to 3 million in 1954. It's coming back to put this cracker in the grave. You see? Get the book, get Honorable Elijah Muhammad's book that y'all laughing at again. The Fall of America, when he talks about the mother planet. How it destroys the civilization.
You got a book called The Mother Planet too.
Yeah. And also he wrote Theology of Time right before he died. He told Farrakhan and them, said, look, y'all gonna love this. Because see, you remember now I talked about the Akashic records at the beginning of the program. Now is this thing on me?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know. Okay. Now, okay. Now, he talked about the Akashic records at the beginning of the program. I talked about it at the beginning of the program. Well, at this time, just like C. Freeman L. said that by this time, at the later stages of his life, Honorable Elijah Muhammad had developed into God. Now, that's the Godhood all this was over. That's why when the prostitute said that let's get to this here. So you need to get his Theology of Time, because that is writings of his own writing. And he keeps saying in the book, well, I'm explaining this in a mythology that all the black people understand, but it's far more deeper than this. You see what I'm saying? But he was getting this out of the Akashic records. You see what I'm saying? So get that book, but if you can get the tape theory series, it's more detailed. But the book, you got to get the book of Theology of Time. They got 2 volumes for 10, or the whole volume for 20-something. Get the whole volume. Anyway, we know that he had transcended into that part because what they said they had a prostitute at one of the parties with the senators. And the senators had this big behind party going on. And this prostitute was there and said, what y'all celebrate? They said, we celebrating the death of the messenger. He said, who the messenger? Said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Supposedly, when he went to the hospital for bronchial asthma, they snuck in and shot some germs up in him. But he was so clean out. When you line up all this, by the time you get to this, ain't nothing can keep you. You God. All the diseases and all that stuff is over. That's why y'all need to come see the brother tomorrow, C. Freeman L., because that's what he's teaching on. They shot that stuff in him, and he probably just shooted it right out. Put it right out. You see? Because he's God now. Once you line up that electrical current, you are immune to all the bullshit. So, and he, C. Freeman say he knows, because he's a part of the more science. He said he understands the Noble True Ali probably didn't go get to that part. He said he knows that Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. And also we know this, that Noble True Ali, they said he could astral project, because when they was beating his behind in that jail cell, he was up there looking at them. They wasn't even in his body. Man, we gods. So the wheels in the last days, when he talks about, Farrakhan talks about this, he's talking about an incident that's happening on the astral plane, mainly the Devashanic plane. So when you get this far, it's already there. What? The black man is destined to be God in the first place. Yes. You see, when they said that your time was up, when they said your time was up, when the real time comes, it's right.
We're being watched. We're being observed. Okay. We've been observed since your election's been going on. A white female and a black dude is sitting across the street in the Jeep since the lecture began.
When I went there and looked, they just pulled off.
You know, too many of y'all gathered up in here.
Yeah, that's all. That's what it is. Yeah, well, you know how that's going to be. They watch everybody. But anyway, what was I saying this before that? I was saying something, huh?
You know it's bugged anyway.
Yeah, we know that. But anyway, they tried to kill him, and this woman said it, but it just washed right out. You know, the white man knew, the secret societies knew that the black person that will come in and start speaking the right stuff, they would know that he would be the messenger or a messenger, because they had a motor him in 1950-something. In the Theology of Time, they had a motorcade for him in Washington, D.C., where the government escorted Honorable Elijah Muhammad right through the streets, and it was like a little small parade. Yeah. Now, they know, see, we bulldozed, but they knew. And they say he was speaking to some crackers, and he went there and doomed them to hell. And all this, doomed them to hell. So, what's happening is, this vibratory rate, whether we like it or not, you're going to be God anyway. But you are what you call the wanderers. You are the people that got into this stuff way before anybody else did, because something was in you to say something is wrong. And the remnants.
That's right. Book of Job.
You see, something was wrong. So, you best believe, and even the whole nation of Islam, I'm going to tell you something, because that's a organization that's already set up, and for the shrine, for what it's worth. Some of these people that's already set up, when this stuff breaks, because the cracker going to launch that doggone killer attack before all this happens. And when this stuff breaks, you best believe one thing going to happen. When it breaks, they're going to be, our people, they're going to be running for cover and trying to find all these organizations that was out there anyway. Now, we can't turn them back because we understand all of us was crazy. But this is why all this is. You black people are going to be the people that help your people when your people come away. What's going on? You see? What's going on? But we got 3 million craft that fly at a high vibratory rate. That's why you can't see them. They're always in the air. But they're on a high frequency. Last night, another dimension. Now, last night on Sightings, you got to see the show every 9 o'clock, and we need black people to start taping the show. On Sightings, they had all the people to mail in all their home videos, which we get down to the real deal stuff. Because that one TV show can't go and get different sightings because it's not. But the people around the world mail them in. They got some good stuff. They had one guy. He was at a football game and he was watching the football game, but it was near when the sunset was going down. It was so pretty. He was watching the sunset and he saw one go shoot past right. And when they speeded it down and calculated, it was going 14,000 miles per hour. They say there's nothing. Right. The spacecraft. Per second. They said that it can get from here to California in 5 seconds. It's fast stuff. Well, it got to be to travel to planets that's millions of miles away. Really? You see what I'm saying? Something to take you 8 light years to get to one of the closest planets, which is Sirius. That's 8 light years. You know that it's got to be traveling at a high speed. And so they had, now it was interesting. They had all kinds. They had one that it came over an aircraft carrier, and they knew it was watching them, and so it started showing off. It started shooting like this. And they had one. It had one that was behind this woman's house, and she said it was as big as her house, and it was just hovering over a ray of light, and it had these lights going through it and all. And it had one in there that was out in the field, and it was shooting, and a smaller one would drop down from it, and then a burst of light would go around it like this, and the smaller one come back up. This stuff can do all incredible stuff, but it's
That's the 93 model.
Yeah, the 93 model. Other than that 1954 model. Yeah, renew and improve and stuff with that turbo horsepower. But anyway, this stuff is so superior that it travels on a highly vibratory rate. See, you got to understand, if you was to get into one of those things, you'd go crazy if something going that fast. But once that pineal gland opens up and you on another frequency, you can go that fast. Cracker can't go that fast. He go crazy getting something going that many miles an hour. You know? So that's how advanced this stuff is. It travels at a high vibratory rate. So therefore, because it's vibrating at a high rate, it's invisible. It's only visible to those that they want it to see, which is not these white people. Not giving them no warnings. It's telling them the time up. They ain't got no warnings because they're not human. You see? I mean, it's going to help humanity. Well, if something's going to help humanity, why would the government cover it up for 40-something years?
That's true, because they're not human. We human.
We human. This is our Earth. That was an experiment that went bad. And now they're coming to clean it up, just like the white Rosicrucians said. You see? So it don't make no difference what they do to black people. They finish. So they don't have to fear me. They don't have to fear nobody in here. They finish. But what they going to do, being the devil that they are, and they got to be the devil, I mean, they're going to be the devil, because they are the devil. He ain't a devil, he is the devil, the prototypical devil. We say the mythical devil, historical white man. Mythology is his action. The white man is the devil. They got to go. They cannot have a negative cosmic force. In the book it said at the end of its career, but they said it will go back into its own plane. And it probably will be rechanneled into another positive power, since there's no physical elements up there, and going back into the universe. You see, going into other planes, and then it dissolves into another power. You see what I'm saying? Probably transform back into the apes, since it's an animal thing in the first place. You see? Serious stuff white boys getting on. So now, that sounds like some solutions now, to me. Because now we understand on how things are, even with the Bible. How breaking things down with the pineal gland, and what Jesus and his whole Bible and what all of these religions are telling you. You know? They're telling you that this is the time, it's up. And also, that we need to get all this. Now, we got to stop eating the meat, because I love chicken too. But the thing about it is, we know that the white man gonna do it, even though he know that the beef and the hamburgers, he gonna put it in the chicken. You say, I'm gonna get off beef, because beef too heavy. When you get older, the stuff takes a toll on your body. But when you get into the chicken, he gonna put it in the chicken, the beef and all that. You know he already doing it with the Jack in the Box thing last week. Yep. You know the Surgeon General came on TV Monday and said, don't mess with no beef. All of it's contaminated. That's what the Surgeon General say. All of it's contaminated. That's the Jack in the Box, all of it. Don't mess with none of it. But you know you gotta have that blood. That stuff that's a drug. You gotta have that blood. Water release. When will this poisonous product cease? You see? So we got to get off this stuff. We got to get off this stuff. And you got... You can't really open up your chakras. You can't open up your chakras on the meat, and you can't open up your chakras smoking and drinking. And all this too. None of that. You can't open up none of this stuff with all that stuff in there. Because also, that's why the man is keeping us on all these drugs and stuff. He's not interested in fighting us the other way. So he he already got you on the physical element. He's trying to keep it. The physical stuff is what he's into. This spiritual stuff and the stuff pertaining to the body, because he knows that this is the real deal weapon already in you. Wizard of Oz, you got the power to go home all the time. The spiritual thing. But when they say, oh, we can beat the man, we got to become more spiritual. What the hell does that mean? That's a damn figure of speech. That's a cliche. You don't even know what spiritual means. Oh, Lord, you get shot up with that bullshit. We talking about this is the only spirituality there is. This is the highest manifestation of the spirituality.
And his last launch is to get you in the future by getting your children on the Federal Violence Initiative, which utilizes...
And also, 2 weeks ago, y'all black Jesus, what's his name on? Bill Clinton, the Bilderberger, y'all black Jesus, what did he say? He said, look, we now going to give all vaccinations to all people.
And Michael Jackson said he was going to help them.
Now you know y'all going well with what's my man said? What's my man, the black biochemist
Jack Bell.
Jack Bell already told you that in the 70s, when they was doing the vaccination, when he was a black biochemist coming out of the service, he said they had a box of vaccination that went to the doggone black community, and what did the white? A red and a blue. And he said one day he played dumb and switched it up. And he said he don't know what was in that doggone black one that he switched it to the white. He said but it took some helicopters, some trucks, and everything to track that man down. And packed it up and sent it back to the black community. In these doggone warehouses, these distribution centers, they got a whole section that they send all that rotten shit to the black community.
That's right.
You see?
And to Africa.
That's right.
And to Africa.
That's right. They have the tape here too.
Yeah, they got the tape. Jack Feller, right?
That's right.
Got the tape here too. So, and what did Bill Clinton say? You see, the reason why they did this because they understood. They said, now a man like Bush, number one, they say a man like Bush, people already know he's the devil.
Straight up.
So we got to get a real deal fix the devil in there. One that will be so animal cunningness that you will be all over him. Oh, this is the great Kennedy-looking mother. Oh, he look like Kennedy because he got the hair with that heel. I love it. Maya Angelou up there singing songs, and they parted all through the night. Niggas blowing saxophone, Clarence Scott, everybody dancing, LL Cool J, thinking they got a doggone faith.
Back on the old plantation.
The way the New World Order works. They got the right man in there now. You know, they ain't said that. They was going to even go ahead and use Bush. But see, they said that Bush got the doggone ego, and they said they told Bush to do some specific things in the Persian Gulf War, and he went and did it his way. So they say they stuffed the ballots. They say actually he won. It's still a conservative conservative society. They say he won, but they say we're gonna let you know how powerful we are. They stumped the balance, and gave it to Bill. Even if it was gonna go with Clinton anyway. I mean Bush anyway. But they gave it to Bill. They said we're gonna let you know. We're gonna put out a bar that we projected in the first place. And they stuffed the balance and gave it to Bill Clinton. You ever thought about something? What the hell be counting them ballots in the first place for you all believing a damn president? Oh, he win. Oh, we vote. Are we that stupid? Here's a man that gives small parts to the Indians and wipe out millions of them. Check this out on this piece. With the Sioux Indians, the only thing they had was buffalo, was their primary source.
Talk about
and they said, go out there and kill up the buffalo, and we'll pay the purchase to kill up the buffalo. You know they killed, when they, check this out, when they started, they had 60 million buffaloes when they started. You know how many they killed? When they got through, there wasn't up but 80 buffalo left. The white man is the devil. Let me tell you something. They had enough buffaloes stacked up to make 9 of these buildings. That's how it looked like a big old 3-story building. Buffalo skulls. You know this man the devil. The whales, everything is messed up.
And the one that helped them do it ran the Cherokees out of North Georgia. His name is Otis Oliver Howard. That's who Howard University.
And see, not only that, you know that, I mean, the man, look. The man, it's indescribable. Not only did he didn't just live up to the name devil, he surpassed the name devil. He's diabolical. Diabolical. I mean, so, we know what to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and end. Let me tell you another thing. This book, let's get some books on the thing too, because we always need to start giving out books. Now, okay, look. Say he the soulless one. Look at this. Look. This book begins to unravel the strategy of darkness that has held the black man, I'll put that in there, in bondage to a will not together his own, not altogether his own. Long ago, they came as renegade bandits, and they put this little thing, it's trying to fool you from another star system. Disregard that. But you can understand, you decode the beast. From another star system. They became uninhabited inhabitants of the earth. Now, with the technical wizardry, they unified every aspect of our lives. They manipulated the genetic pattern. They altered the very fabric of thought. The white man got us on his thought problem, right? Okay, the very fabric of thought. Let me get it now. I lost my place. And they created a counterfeit race of soulless humans, automations programmed to control by ways of death. So he's saying that these so-called aliens created this counterfeit race. So we understand. We done went through all that. But he's still saying a counterfeit race of soulless humans. Invading the mind, these aliens altered the perception of reality, penetrated the psyche of man, which thought patterns that would sustain a lesser state of awareness. It gave you a thought that got you on a low level. The mechanical force field is the nucleus of synthetic self and anti-self warring with the real self. So you got an anti-self right now. That's the white man. You the what they call the black European, or the Afro-Saxon. Afro-Pean warring with the real self, your real African self. Right? Check this out. For this reason, now look at this. That's why you got to get to this. The God. For this reason, man is God in exile. The black man is God in exile. A prisoner of a brave new world. You can get the book Huxley. There's Huxley, Brave New World. Of a brave new world. Until he challenges the smothering oppression of the soulless ones. The shackles of limitation will remain. The soulless ones. Little book called The Soulless One. Cloning a Counterfeit Creation. Okay. So now what this boy is, The Soulless One by Mark L. Prophet.
Yeah, but it's white folks these days.
Yes, and what happened to this boy is, you got a group of people up here that is against the New World Order establishment, so they telling the secrets. You see? Thinking they're going to get some kind of leniency. Well, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there will be a little bit that will be saved, but eventually they would have to be killed because it's not a human. It's not a human, so it's got to be killed. You understand? Okay, now look, this is a little book, The Third Eye. I didn't read it because you know how I love that. We don't want to read novels, you know. And gave it to the sister here, Dawn. She read it, and man, it's kicking hard. Okay. Talked about, they had a how many year old prophecy was that?
I don't know how old it was, but
I think it was like a 700-year-old prophecy that a white man was going to come in and invade Tibet. This 700-year-old prophecy was on schedule. It invaded Tibet. Not only did it invade Tibet, it invaded Tibet in 1904. The British came in and invaded. They had this prophecy. All by the third eye. That's that Akashic records. From the future and the past. Okay? Also talks about a group of people in spaceships that's more advanced than the Earth. And also talks about that these people are watching us now like caged animals. They are observing us like caged animals, saying these people are nothing but savages. We on that beast level too. Good book. This is called The Third Eye by T. Bashing Rampo.
It also deal with astral plane.
Astral plane, open up the pineal gland, all that. Third eye, gotta get it. Boom. Left out of the chakras. The chakras. The book that I was talking about a few minutes ago when I said, The Kundalini Experience by Gopi Krishna. Gotta get this book, The Kundalini Experience, for the New Age. Gotta have a handbook, as well as the handbook, Psychic Self-Defense. Because not only that, it's been in half of them. Once you really get into this non-human they're talking about, and the spooks, and all the evil spirits, we're dealing with a whole lot of stuff. Even black people is into this messed up evil spirits and all this here. Let's see a good book. Let's see, good book, the book dealing with Sirius, all of that. Timeless book. White people, notice the day Bible, because guess what? This book is awesome. You don't get nothing. You got to get the Cosmic Trigger, Volume 1, Robert Anton Wilson, 1978. Ain't never went out of print. Dropping on the Dogon, the UFOs, the DNA, the Kundalini, all of that stuff. Robert Anton Wilson, the Cosmic Trigger. Gotta get it. In here, he goes into the man who was abducted by Sirius and the projections that I just gave you, of what he said. Cosmic Trigger, you'll have it here too. Y'all come and get the stuff together. Y'all ain't gonna have no stove, but y'all have a whole lot of books on the side. You have to sell off everything about these books. These people knock y'all in the head for not having them. He talks about a man that was abducted by Sirius, right? That man that was abducted by Sirius is called George Hunt Williamson. His 1954 trilogy or tale of what was going to happen. And I was telling you, it's called Other Tongues of the Flesh. A Bible. A doggone Bible. Got to have it. Even though he refers to a Bible a lot in here, he's writing this in 1954. A Bible. Other Tongues of the Flesh, George Hunt Williamson. Let me tell you something. They got a whole lot of books out here on the New Age. All this UFO stuff. When you buy them, it's all kind of spooked up stuff. This book was written in 1954. That means it's the real deal stuff on the abductee. Now, the real deal people that on these Kabbalion societies, we go out to these white places where they'll meet. They ain't got but one UFO book in the whole place. This one. There's another New Age bookstore that deal with all kind of holistic New Age down North Highland. They ain't got but one UFO in with there. Where the UFO there, they ain't real, but where the book? This Other Tongues of the Flesh and the Cosmic Trigger. Okay?
Who's Other Tongues of the Flesh?
George Hunt Williamson. Brad Steig, I thought it was a good book because he deals with the archetypes when he's talking about the goddess segment in here as relationship to UFOs and all this type of stuff too. Good book, you know. Some of it is, I figured it was enough to pick it up. Another book on the chakras and all the stuff. Another book on the chakras and all of it. This book here, Inner Life. Charles W. Ledbetter. C.W. Ledbetter. Gotta get this book. This book goes into all of it. Astro plane, reincarnation, karma, Devashanic plane. All of the stuff in the book.
I found his inside.
You found it? Where?
I got the Theosophical
Okay,
catalog
cool.
today.
Okay, cool. Then we can't get it.
That's the one you're going to want to.
Yeah, we're going to get it in all.
Get the inside of things.
Inside thing, C.W. Ledbetter. It's going to cost a lot. How much was it?
Nope.
How much?
I think it was like $14.
Another book is this. This Ledbetter, he wrote this book here that's out of print. Man, Wentz, Howe, and Willer. This other guy, A.E. Powell, the guy that wrote this Astro Body, wrote a smaller book called Solar System. And the Theosophical Society came down and told these people who was printing this stuff, said, we're gonna attack you, or we're gonna put some pressure on you if you print that book Solar System. Because that book Solar System is talking about the nature of this white man's relationship to history and all of this stuff. A.E. Powell, the brother that does this, well, I said no brother, the cracker that does this. But I get into the habit of calling every black person brother, so, which is good. The cracker that used this, he wrote this book, he wrote a book called Solar System. And they put some, and he was breaking down this book that Annie Besant, which is the woman that's in the Masonic order, and Ledbetter wrote called Man, Hence, Willer, and Howe. Wentz, Howe, and Willer. He's breaking this book down in a little smaller book, and it's really dropped, because this book is written in code. You can't, this is out of print. But the smaller book is breaking it down straight up. This is what's up. And they put pressure on them. And the Health Research Society, which is out of California, who print all them out of print books and Massey and all them, they had to go and get a book off a shelf of a white man's house. They got it off somebody's collection, and they printed the book. And that book is in print. It's called Solar Systems by this guy, A.E. Powell.
Can you give us the address for these people that you say?
We're going to be dealing with them right through here because they used to, they used to have a distributor here right in Atlanta, and the people wasn't buying the books in there. They had to close up.
You can't buy them from them?
You can do. You can order them. You got to put in an order like a business. So the Health Research Company, what's the name? What's that? Mokalumi Hill, yeah. California. They print all the stuff in there. So that's the book you got to. Now that book, Atlantis and Lemuria, and you said you laughed at the black. Now this book, now this book, they was printing this book because this is the only Rudolph Steiner book that they didn't have. So they said, Health Research printed it. And he was laughing at the black man, the message to the black man. And this ain't nothing but the message to the black man that the white boy down there tell you. 30 years before the other message to the black man, 40 years before the other message to the black man was ever even written. So this is that book. Atlantis and Lemuria by Rudolph Steiner. Okay. Let's see. We're going to have to do something to get this because it's not in the New Leaf catalog. And only people I saw that was getting it was Oxford. But I tell everybody at my lecture, you want to know something about what's really behind the Egyptian mysteries, you got to get this book, Arthur Versailles, Egyptian Mysteries. Oh, I had it upside down. Arthur Versailles, Egyptian Mystery. Take you through all of it and all. Good book to get. Like I said again, C.W. Ledbetter, Astro Plane, the Devashanic Plane. Okay, remember the Moon Child of Aleister Crowley? Got to get it because it's talking about a story in a novel on this woman who had this Moon Child.
Excuse me. Concerning the Moon Child, is that particular shade of meaning different from Heteru? Is there any association? Okay, so there's a different association.
Yeah, because also, Tahuti is a lunar.
A lunar deity, and then you have Hathor or Heteru.
And check this out. See, look at this. Check out how this stuff transcends. Tahuti is called the messenger of Ra.
Right.
And he has, and his symbol is a star and a crescent, or the moon, the crescent. The star being Sirius. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he's the messenger of Ra, and the symbol is the star and the crescent. You see how these things transcend? You see? Ra is Ra. The symbol from Ra, the meaning for Ra means all. Also, the sun, all. The meaning for Allah means all. You see how this stuff transcends? We up here arguing over just customs and culture. Let's see. There's a cat coming on the 20th. These white boys have these meetings, and y'all start bombarding these meetings. The Chambly Civic Center in Chambly. They're having a white boy that's coming down from NASA. Next week. He used to work for NASA, and he's going to break on all this UFO stuff. You need to get out there and see the Chambly, I think it's going to be on the 20th. The Chambly Civic Center. That's the place where we went to the UFO convention the last time.
That's where Bill Cooper always is.
That's where Bill Cooper always is. And they had the guy, Richard Hoagland, that wrote this book, Monuments on Mars, A City on the Edge Forever. You got to get this book. Monuments on Mars, A City on the Edge Forever, because Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his book, Theology of Time, that's another book, Theology of Time, you got to get it. But in his book, he talks about that we have a group of people that live under the ground in Mars. And they don't want you to see them, they don't have to. Now, on the TV show last night, something about Mars is very peculiar. Because on the TV show last night, Silence, Russia had this space probe. And it's supposed, and it was very advanced. And they supposed to have touched down on Mars, and they supposed to go up on and see what all this was. And they said, this is their words, a mothership told Russia, don't you mess with Mars. Don't even send it. So, you know, they're the white man, they send it anyway, and they're going into Mars. They're going into Mars, and the next thing, they take the first picture of Mars, and the next thing, something goes, it's black. They say that this 14-mile phase, they call it the mothership, traveling at 14,000 miles per hour, took the doggone probe, took it with them, left it. And they show this big, long, oblong shape, which is the floor of the lodge, which is the Karnak temple, half a mile by half a mile to talk about, which is the same ship of Ra, which a passage in Jeremiah's book of the beginning, ancient Egypt, light of the world, say, oh Lord, let me drive the ship to the west, to those starry ones, we're the star people, who do not know a way to lift themselves up. This is in a papyrus. Let me drive the ship and tackle the west. And then it says, then the phase comes and it says, and those people are rescued. That's the same as Jesus and his followers right here in the Gnostic cult. Say they meet the people, and the beings on the ship are manned by fantastic beings. Gotta get it. So the guy Hoagland, Richard Hoagland, writes the book Monuments of Mars, A City on the Edge Forever. Hoagland.
Excuse me, brother. You can order that book. You can order the video.
Yeah, you can, because you can see in September, you can order the video. They talk about that in here too. But this book is out now. This book came out in '86. This is another version. This is a thicker version that came out about 2 months ago, right before Christmas, and it's $16. Now, let's see some other stuff. Like I said, see, we messed around. They told us when they did the Dogon, the Dogon, they said that this book was very expensive to get, and they said it depends on the buyers whether they were going to reprint. So now it's out of print. You can't get it at times, but if you can't, you at least need to get Robert Temple's The Serious Mystery. It goes into the Dogon and also goes into the Siggy ceremony and the Hinti ceremony and all of that. You need to get The Serious Mystery. Good book, because this is what inspired Robert Anton Wilson to write the Cosmic Trigger and all. The Cosmic Trigger. Okay. Also, if we're going to be getting in the melon, you're going to have to reread this and get some more of these if you can get them. Richard King, Origins of Biological Psychiatry and all. What it talks about the calcified pineal gland and the whole 9 yards. You have to reread this. Psychiatry, Richard King, our brother, is dropping on the melon. It first taught us of the white men having a calcified pineal gland. God bless him, because we still would be out here saying that Richard King, that everybody, because we don't know the physical makeup of people. Another book called The Kundalini, The Evolutionary Energy in Man, Gopi Krishna. That's the same guy that wrote this one, his new book. This one was written in the 70s, and this one is new. Came out in 89. This one came out in like 70 and 71. Gopi Krishna. He has several books out. Another book, this one, I didn't like it. Well, I mean, it's good. The information is great. I just don't like a book without an index in it. Because I like to study books. Never read your books from cover to cover, because when you finish, you don't know nothing. You got to study books. Just like they taught you to study in school, you got to start doing that. If the white man ain't taught you nothing, he at least taught you how to rope learn, how you can study for that test. Well, you know how to study and make it stick. Always a good book. What else is there?
Question and answer.
Question. Okay, we're going to do a little question and answer. Let me get this last book. These books. Last book. Anti-Bazan, Ancient Mysteries, which is C.W. Ledbetter's Conrad on all this stuff. Talk about the astral plane, the Devashanic plane, all of these planes and all of this stuff. And it also goes into the wheels. They say the wheels are seen on the astral plane. And we know what them wheels are.
What's the name of that book again?
Right. The Ancient Wisdom by Anti-Bazan. Now, when I talked about that, all that Alistair Crowley stuff, good book you need to get. Get the book. It's a $19 book, but if you want to read on what they're going on, we got to know all that stuff anyway. Get the big, thick book, The Confessions of Alistair Crowley. That goes through his whole life story, if you got enough time to read it.
So how long is it?
The Confessions of Alistair Crowley. Oh, let's see another good history book of him called The Nature of the Beast by Colin Wilson. Alistair Crowley. The Nature of the Beast. Another good book. Or you can get the book by Israel Regarded called Eye on the Triangle. Another good book you got to get dealing with all of this in the relationship with the Egyptian deities and the Kundalini and all this is a book you must have called The Tree of Life by Israel Regarded. Tree of Life. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Dealing with all this magical stuff, how these boys operate. And how they operate right from Egyptian deities. You gotta do that. Another thing too, if we gonna survive this, okay, let's get another good book in. I told you about the Mornings of the Magician. There's another book, Astronomy and the Imagination. And this book here has a diagram of what's gonna line up and all this stuff that's gonna line up. But they're doing it on their time, so you know it's gonna be actually, if it's 96, they say 2000, it's gonna be like, I think May 5th, 2000, these planets gonna line up. And we know that stuff is gonna be around April 20th, 1994. Or whatever. And then 1996, I don't know, but somewhere in that realm, see, I'm not really giving you the precise because I really don't know the months, but somewhere in that realm, this year is a key year, next year is a key year. You know, next year is a key year. By 96, a lot of those chakras should be opened up. The chakras and the Kundalini and all. But you need to come and see C. Primordial. Now, with that, okay, another book, one last book. Ancient Mystic Rites. Breaking down the masonry. I C.W. Ledbetter. Show you a big old picture of Annie Besant standing there with her 33rd degree belt on. White woman. And we sitting up in here, we ain't let women in the lodge. I'm telling you, y'all some Masons, the first thing you need to do is start letting some women in the lodge. But then again, we don't need to, because all they do in the damn Prince Hall is drink, liquor, and drive cab.
First thing they need to do is learn something.
They need to learn something. Don't even bother with it. It's the real lodge now. You can't let no organization teach you what you can't learn in a book. You got to start reading. You got to start reading. See what I'm saying? Another thing, too, about these people in the ghetto. That you say, well, what's happening? Let me tell you something. Tell them niggas, look, take your behind down there on Astor Street and tell them to join the Nation of Islam. That's one of the only games in town, whether you like it or not. I don't give a doggone what y'all say. You tell them to join the nation, or you tell them to join some Honorable Elijah Muhammad Muslim organization, as well as some stuff that's going to clean a person up, because you can join the shrine, but still yet it don't make you commit this nothing. Now, you all got enough power in you, I hope, to do some stuff. And if you want to join the nation, that's cool, too. That's great. But some of these people is on this savage level. They say they check your drawers when you go in there, because they know that our people don't watch no more. Some of our people out here on these streets. So don't tell me this bull jive. The only people that's going to these projects and in these doggone homeless shelters is the nation. Now, whether you like it or not, sit them down in the nation. Guy say, I'm doing. I say, yo, brother, I got to take your butt on the Ashford Street. Tell them to do that. We got places. We need to start utilizing these places. The Shrine or wherever. We need to start utilizing these places.
Bobby,
So,
another thing, too, it'd be good to mention, because you're dealing with a lot of astronomy. A thing to do is to watch the newspaper and look and see those little mini courses they offer at the Fernbank Center, at the planetarium, because I know it can get very confusing when you start reading astrology and they said this lines up and that lines up. And if you don't understand it, you lost. If you go and take, it's about $25, all right? And it's about a week long. I went and took it. You'd be surprised how it opens up a lot of things to know basic astronomy.
Astronomy. Another book you got to get is Star Names and Their Allure by Richard Hinckley Allen, because it's the only book that gives you, one of the only books that gives you the ancient, it traces those stars back to their ancient form and meaning. You see what I'm saying? Sirius is the sun, it's the greatest sun, and when it rises, you have your beginning of your year, which is in the summer. Well, these people at that time, when that used to rise, they used to say, and that was known as heaven to us, they used to say, damn, heaven is hot. Now we say hell is hot, and heaven is cold because we're living in the white man world, and he's an ice man. See how things have turned around? Heaven is heat. We're the people of the sun. We strive on heat. The blue-black gods. And that melanin is right with the heat. You see? Heaven is hot because it's going to burn the cracker up. Question and answer. Okay, another book. Okay, look. You want to learn about the Gnostic thought? Here's a book called The Gnostic Religion by Hans Jonas. The message of an alien God, the beginning of Christianity. An alien God. And when I thought it was alien, it was talking about more of that alien up there, and they talking about the astral plane. Boom. Question and answer. Yeah.
We got one thing to do here before
We got something to do before he stops, before he shows you one more book. All right. This brother has demonstrated extraordinary discipline in gaining all this knowledge and come here and feed it to us, and we want to start recognizing our own. And so what we like to do on behalf of black media communication is to bestow upon this brother and honor the honor. Let us have a little peep into the kingdom of heaven. So we want to crown